cultivation world, I begin by getting struck by lightning. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 976. This guy is also good at sabotage. At noon, the sun was shining brightly, pouring down warmly along the green bricks and tiles, and the golden sunlight enveloped the earth. Su Fan, with his hands behind his back, strolled leisurely on the streets of Linkseo Immortal City. Now he had nowhere to go, so he could only settle down in Linkseo Immortal City temporarily. There was no other way, because the Star Domain Alliance and the Celestial Race were fighting a bloody battle in Kyanshan Star Domain, and all the gates to Kyanshan Star Domain had been closed. Su Fan walked into a restaurant on the street, found a seat in the hall, and ordered some of the restaurant's signature dishes. It was lunchtime, and the hotel lobby was already full of people, and it seemed noisy. While eating, Su Fan listened to the chats of the monks in the hall. But he listened for a long time and didn't hear any useful information. After all, the intelligence sent back by Ruai Pavilion was faster and more accurate. Just when Su Fan was about to leave, the chat content of several monks at a table next to him aroused his interest. Old 4, have you heard that Songhai Star region is recruiting cultivators to reclaim wasteland? It is said that the conditions are extremely favorable. Should we give it a try as well? Forget it. If it is really as good as they say, we will have such a good thing. I have heard about it too. In fact, we can give it a try. Our realm has reached the limit. How bad can the worst result be? For people like us, if we stay here and wait for death, our lives will be like this. We might as well go out and try. The lowest realm they recruit is the Golden Core realm. It is just right for us. We can either give it a try or come back if it doesn't work. Listening to the chat of several cultivators, it seems that the Star Region Alliance is about to develop Kyanshan Star Region. Under the cruel rule of the Celestial Race, the fiefdom cultivators of various planes have no intention of developing their own territories. This also makes large tracts of land in various planes of Kyanshan Star Region undeveloped. In order to rule themselves, the Celestial Race strictly controls the number of slaves of each race, so each plane is sparsely populated. In addition, when the Celestials retreated, they slaughtered the slaves in their territories indiscriminately to vent their anger. Now that the Star Alliance has occupied most of the planes of the Kyanshan Star Domain, they need a huge number of monks to carry out large-scale development of the newly occupied areas. Therefore, each Star Domain has begun to recruit monks on a large scale, and has even recruited monks from all the Star Domains in the Jiaoxu realm. Su Fan is not interested in recruiting monks to reclaim wasteland, but this is a way for him to sneak into the Kyanshan Star Domain. As long as he sneaks into the Kyanshan Star Domain, he has plenty of ways to leave without being noticed, and then sneak into the rear of the Celestials. As long as he sneaks into the rear of the Celestials, he will definitely be able to do something ruthless. Today, the Celestials and the Star Alliance are fighting fiercely, although the battle situation is no longer as cruel as it was at the beginning. But the Celestials' Fusion Realm Masters are almost all guarding the front line. There is no way, the number of cultivators in the Star Alliance is too large. And the Masters of the Refining Void Realm and Fusion Realm are several times more than those of the Celestials. If the Celestials had not built a large number of altars on the defense line, and had not received support from fellow cultivators from the upper realm at any time, the defense line would have been broken through by the Star Domain Alliance long ago. Even so, the Fusion Realm Masters of the Celestials did not dare to neglect it at all. Almost all the Fusion Realm Masters in the entire clan were guarding the front line. So at this time, there were almost no Fusion Realm Masters in the back of the Celestials. If Su Fan, the devil of the world, snipped in, he would have to make a big fuss in the Heavenly Palace for the Celestials. Su Fan is not only good at killing people, but also good at causing trouble. After he finished his meal and paid the bill, he left the hotel and had no intention of wandering around, so he returned to the inn. Because he was only temporarily transiting in Linkseo Fairy City, the inn you arranged for him was not as high-end as Kyanghae Fairy City. But who would have thought that something happened in Kyanshan Star Region at this time, and he had to continue living here. Su Fan had just walked into the guest room when the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist began to vibrate slightly. He took off the Jade Talisman from his waist and took a look at the message sent by Kinyu. Devours, I just got the news that the thousands of Lianx realm cultivators of the Celestial Clan who were chasing you in the Pegasus Star region are withdrawing secretly. Su Fan immediately became alert after seeing the message sent by Qin Yu. No matter what, these guys can't be allowed to return to the Qianshan Star region. This is a powerful force for the Celestial Clan, and it can even play a key role in the current battle situation. Will the two evil old demons in the fusion realm leave with them? According to reliable information, Jiu Mo Laozu and Zhuan Yan Ghost King have returned with the people of the Celestial Clan. In order to keep these two evil old demons in the fusion realm, the Celestial Clan must have paid an unimaginable price. When Su Fan thought of the two evil old demons, he hesitated immediately. But he only hesitated for a few seconds before deciding to do it. If it weren't for the jade talismans given to him by the Luo family ancestor, he really wouldn't dare to be so wasteful. Have you found out where they are staying in Ruai Pavilion? I don't know yet, but I'm arranging people to check. What, do you want to intercept them? Taoist friend, think twice, they are chasing me everywhere. If I don't show them some color, my Taoist heart will not be clear. Then please help me check it, and contact me immediately when you have the results. Su Fan chatted with Qin Yu for a few more words, and then put away the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion. He sat cross-legged there and thought for a while. This time he did something big, so of course he had to plan it well. Now the main thing is that there is no intelligence, so he can't arrange the killing in advance. Thinking of this, Su Fan sneered. Who cares, when the time comes, just kill them directly and kill them by surprise. At this time, the divination monks of the Qianren clan have no time to look for him. It is estimated that their minds are on the battlefield of Qianshan Star region. In order to hide it from the Star Alliance, they must be very secretive when they come back this time, so they will definitely not advertise it everywhere. The guys from the Celestial race thought that they were from the Star Alliance, and he alone would definitely not attract their attention. This also gave Su Fan the opportunity to launch a surprise attack. If he seized the opportunity, he might really kill them by surprise. Now he just had to wait. As long as the Ruai Pavilion found out their whereabouts, Su Fan would kill them immediately. This time, Su Fan planned to use the corpses of thousands of celestial race monks in the refining void realm to make a small Jingwen human bone tower. Chapter 977. You won't know until you try. As the sun sets, the sky is painted with sunset glow. A fiery red sun is hidden among the mountains in the west, and the orange-red afterglow paints half of the sky. It is as hot as fire and as red as blood. Su Fan followed the crowd down from a flying boat. He glanced at a huge city in the distance, and then stepped into the crowded crowd at the airport. This is Hulanshan's Fanglin Immortal City, which is also a place Qin Yu arranged for him to stay. According to the latest intelligence, thousands of disguised Qianren clan cultivators in the refining realm have begun to move towards Qianshan Star Domain in batches. Now these people have arrived at the Molan Star Domain and are also part of the Star Domain Coalition's attack on the Qianren clan. There is no way. More than 10 star domains around the Qianshan Star Domain have closed the space gates to the Qianshan Star Domain. At present, it is not an easy task for these Qianren clan cultivators to return to support their fellow clans. With their strength, they could still deceive ordinary cultivators, but once they reach the front line, they would be exposed in an instant when facing the identification of a large number of masters in the fusion realm. Therefore, thousands of Qianren cultivators in the refining realm could only be divided into small pieces and scattered in various planes of the Molan Star region. According to the information provided by Ruai Pavilion, there are more than 100 Qianren cultivators in the refining realm hidden near Fanglin Immortal City. Su Fan came to a shop in the city, exchanged secret words with a shopkeeper, and then got a jade slip from him. He found an inn to settle down, entered the guest room and sat cross-legged. Su Fan put the jade slip on his forehead, and after a while he put it down, and with a pop, he crushed it. He sprinkled the powder in his hand on the ground, then stood up from the ground and left the inn, and came to the outside of Fanglin Immortal City. According to the information provided by Ruai Pavilion, more than 100 Qianren cultivators are hidden in a luxurious cave in a market. I thought it would be troublesome to find these guys, and this was the territory of the Fanglin Immortal sect after all, so Su Fan didn't want to make a big deal. If the Celestial Clan monks hiding in other places were alarmed, they would all run away. But he never expected that these Celestial Clan's refining Void Realm monks were hiding in a luxurious cave outside the city. Su Fan couldn't figure it out. Could these guys be more lucky? You know, Each of the luxurious caves outside the Fanglin Immortal City has a complicated background. Only idiots who want to hide their identities would live there. Maybe the Celestial Clan monks claim to be noble, so they are so particular even when hiding their identities. No wonder the Ruai Pavilion found his hiding place so quickly. What's the point of waiting? Just kill them directly. When Su Fan arrived outside the city, it was already dark. Su Fan walked into the market. Although it was already night, the market was still brightly lit. He walked around the street for a while, his eyes fixed silently. Su Fan did not activate his divine sense or divine thoughts, but relied entirely on his own sensing ability to see all the movements in the entire market. After a while, he finally found a target and slowly approached him. This was a Yuanying realm cultivator, and also a deacon in the market, who was specifically responsible for several luxurious caves nearby. Su Fan walked past him, and the other party suddenly shuddered, and then knew nothing, and followed Su Fan to a private room in a tea house. The other party sat opposite Su Fan, as if possessed by evil spirits, took off a formation talisman from his waist and placed it on the table. When Su Fan came out, his appearance and aura had become the same person just now. He left the market, came to a deserted place, and then sent a thought to the big boss of the upper realm of the Witch Gate. Senior, can you find a way to cover up the blood-colored beam of light that descended from the sky in the descent magic array? The corpses of 10 void refining realm cultivators, what the hell? Su Fan received the other party's thoughts in his mind, and gritted his teeth. This old bastard took advantage of the fire again. Senior, is this reliable? Don't let the fusion realm masters in Fanglin Xiancheng notice it then. If it was just this group of people, Su Fan would not be afraid that the old monsters in Fanglin Xiancheng would notice anything. As long as they knew that it was him who made the noise, the fusion realm old monsters in the Xianzhuang would definitely pretend not to see it. But Su Fan didn't want to kill only this group of people, and of course he didn't want the news to leak out. Such a long distance can barely hide it from the fusion realm masters in the mountain gate of Fanglin Xianzhuang. That's good. This place is thousands of miles away from the mountain gate of Fanglin Xianzhuang. As long as the group of fusion realm old monsters in the mountain gate of Fanglin Xianzhuang don't deliberately pay attention to this side, there should be no problem. As for whether it works or not, we can only know after trying it. Thinking of this, Su Fan took a deep breath and sent a thought to the big boss of the Wumin upper realm. The old bastard didn't brag. After he activated the blood array to raise his strength to the realm of refining emptiness, he didn't attract the attention of others. Su Fan came to a valley dozens of miles away, then took off the array talisman from his waist and gently drew it. After a while, the array outside the cave revealed a passage, and a human cultivator in the realm of transformation walked out of the cave. You have to say, the disguise of the celestial race is indeed extraordinary. He didn't see any flaws from the other party. What are you doing here? Didn't I say that others should not disturb us? After hearing the other party's words, Su Fan smiled and folded his hands. Senior, please forgive me. I came here. Before he finished speaking, the person opposite felt that his eyes went black, and then he knew nothing. Sudan waved his hand and put the other party into the Juan's secret realm, then walked into the cave. After a while, he came out of the cave and restored the formation with a wave of his hand. More than 100 Shinran cultivators in the Liangsu realm in the cave were stood by him using the soul secret method. He threw these Shinran cultivators into the Juan's secret realm. Now these people cannot be killed. As long as they die, they will alarm other members of the same clan. Su Fan returned to the market and came to an empty alley. He released the man from the portable secret realm and then went to the Fanglin Immortal City. The deacon of the market shuddered suddenly and recovered from the confusion. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? It took a while for the other party to wake up, making him sweat coldly. But he checked inside and out and found nothing wrong, so he left the alley half believing and half doubting. Chapter 978. Is your name Su Fan? Su Fan solved the problem of the Celestial Clan monks outside the city without anyone noticing, and then he left the Fanglin Immortal City. In the next few days, he began to attack the Celestial Clan monks who were hiding in various places in the Molan Star region. Unfortunately, the Celestial Clan monks scattered everywhere would contact each other every few days. So Su Fan raided more than a dozen Celestial Clan hiding places in succession, and the remaining Celestial Clan monks found that someone was dealing with him. There was no way. Thousands of people were hiding in dozens of places, and even if he was very capable, he would not be able to split his forces. The Celestial Clan monks scattered in various places in the Molan Star region changed their hiding places one after another, and were obviously more careful than before. Although the Ruai Pavilion was looking for the traces of those Celestial Clan monks, at least in the short term, there was no harvest. Su Fan guessed that the other Celestial Clan monks had probably left the Molan Star region long ago. Well, anyway, he had successfully captured more than 1,000 Celestial Clan monks, which was enough. Now that the cultivators of the Celestial Clan have all gone into hiding, Su Fan has nothing to do, so he found a secluded marketplace to settle down and wait for the information from Ruai Pavilion. This morning, he had just finished tempering his blood and ki, and the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist vibrated slightly. He took off the jade talisman from his waist and took a look at the message sent by Qin Yu. Devours, we just found a hiding place of the Celestial Clan, but, after reading the message sent by Qin Yu, Su Fan couldn't help but frown. Ruai Pavilion has been tossing for so long, but has not found any trace of the Celestial Clan, and now one suddenly appears. Even the most stupid person can see that there is something fishy. It is estimated that the two evil old demons in the fusion realm should be near the hiding place, waiting for Su Fan to jump in. What do you think, Devours? I think this is a trap set by the Celestial Clan. It seems that Qin Yu is not confused and can see the strangeness here. By the way, where are the two evil old demons hired by the Celestials now? Where else can they go? I guess he's waiting for you to kill him at the hiding place of the Celestials just discovered. Damn, if it was an evil old demon in the fusion realm, he would dare to challenge him. If both evil old demons were there, he would not dare to be too reckless. But he couldn't just watch so many celestial cultivators return to the Kyanshan Star region in one piece. At this time, Su Fan's heart moved, and he suddenly thought of an idea. Qin Yu, the people of Molan Star region, don't they know about the celestial cultivators who returned from Pegasus Star region? When the Celestials went to Pegasus Star region, they kept their tracks hidden, and no one paid attention to this matter at that time. Only our Ruai Pavilion accepted your commission, so we have been monitoring their movements. Su Fan understood Qin Yu's words. That is, no one knows that thousands of Shinran Clan refining realm monks are lurking in the Molan Starfield. Although the Starfield Alliance is fighting a war with the Shinran Clan, the people of more than a dozen Starfields have basically no defense against their respective rear areas. Because the Shinran Clan is extremely narcissistic, they have very poor popularity in the Jiaoxu realm, and they don't even have an ally. Even the big forces in the underground world rarely intersect with the Shinran Clan. Even if they do, it is all for profit transactions and they can be betrayed at any time. Now the Shinran Clan in Kyanshan Star has been surrounded in several super planes, which are also some of their remaining territories. Therefore, the top leaders of more than 10 starfields of the Starfield Alliance have not focused their energy on the rear area. If this news is released, the Molan Starfield will definitely not stand idly by. How could these old guys allow thousands of Shinran Clan refining realm monks to hide in their territory? If they are allowed to escape back to Kyanshan Starfield, it will greatly enhance the combat effectiveness of the Shinran Clan. Qin Yu, what do you think will happen if I release this information? That's a good idea, but how do we tell the top leaders of Molan Star region about this news? Su Fan thought about it. This is really a troublesome matter. If the news is released directly, the current human cultivators will be like frightened birds, and they will definitely flee from the Molan Star region once they hear this news. If the news is handed over to the top leaders of the Molan Star region through the Ruai Pavilion, there are too many links in the middle, and it is estimated that it will not take long for the secret to be leaked. Devours, if it really doesn't work, you can hand this news to the top leaders of the Molan Star region in person. What the hell? How can he do this in person? Devours, with your fierce reputation, just find a fairy city and reveal your identity to them. It is estimated that it will definitely attract the attention of the top leaders of the Molan Star region. Su Fan believed this. If he reported his name, those fusion realm masters of the Molan Star region might really meet him. He is a disaster star. He suddenly appeared in the Molan Star region. Those old guys must be very nervous. Let's give it a try. The next day, Su Fan came to the Chao Immortal City not far away. He entered the city and came to the Foreign Affairs Hall of the Chao Immortal sect in the city. He was blocked by several disciples on duty guarding the door. The leading Yuanying realm cultivator bowed to him. Senior, this is an important place of the sect. Outsiders are not allowed to enter, After hearing what the other party said, Su Fan smiled. I am Su Fan. I have something important to see your sect master. Hearing Su Fan say this, the faces of several disciples on duty at the door of the Foreign Affairs Hall suddenly sank. This kid's tone is not small. He came up to see the sect master. Who the hell are you? You just want to see our sect master. The leading Uniting Realm cultivator said in a deep voice with a serious face, Senior, I am afraid that the sect master has no time to meet you. Hearing this, he suddenly remembered something and his eyes suddenly condensed. Senior, is your name Su Fan? Seeing Su Fan nod, he was still a little uncertain, and asked again. Senior, you are, that Su Fan? Su Fan smiled and said, well, I am the Su Fan you are thinking of. After hearing his words, several monks on duty guarding the External Affairs Hall were immediately confused. Fortunately, one person was smart and turned around and ran into the External Affairs Hall. After a while, several cultivators in the Refining Void Realm walked out from inside, and the leader walked a few steps to Su Fan and bowed to greet him. Devours, I am sorry for not welcoming you to my Chao Xianzong, please. Although the other party was a cultivator in the Refining Void Realm, Su Fan had to call him Senior. But he called Su Fan Devours, which made everyone present feel that it was natural. Chapter 979 No one feels abnormal. Su Fan followed several Void Refining Realm monks from the Chao Immortal sect and came to a room in the sect's External Affairs Hall. After the host and the guests sat down, the Void Refining Realm monk who was the leader looked at Su Fan with a smile. I am Feng King, the head of the External Affairs Hall of the Chao Immortal sect. I have already reported to the sect master, and he will be here soon. Please wait for a moment. I am sorry to trouble you seniors. I am deeply terrified. He thought for a while and said, this matter is confidential. Please let King Xianzhen know that it is best not to leak the news of my coming. King Xianzhen turned his head and nodded to a fellow disciple next to him, who hurriedly left. Su Fan hurriedly bowed to the other party and said, I am sorry to have troubled you seniors this time. Although Su Fan was polite, King Xianzhen and the Void Refining Realm old monsters from the Chao Immortal sect did not dare to show off in front of him. They chatted with Su Fan about family matters, and the atmosphere was very harmonious. Although it was very strange that King Xianzhen and several old monsters in the Liangsu realm were chatting with a cultivator in the Huashan realm, no one felt it was abnormal. After all, Su Fan was notorious in the entire Jiaoxia world. Although the power of the Xianzong and the demon sect was huge, who would have the time to provoke this killer? Moreover, both sides now had a common enemy, the Celestial clan, and at least temporarily belonged to the same camp. After a while, a disciple of the Chao Xianzong ran in. Uncle, the master is here. After hearing what the other party said, King Xianzhen and several old monsters in the Liangsu realm in the house stood up and walked out of the Jingsh. Su Fan followed them out, and when they came to the yard outside, they saw a big man in the fusion realm, who was surrounded by several people and came to the yard. King Xianzhen saluted the other party and then introduced Su Fan. Devours, this is the leader of our Chao Xianzong, King Zhuan Shenzhen. Su Fan heard this and hurriedly stepped forward to pay respect. Junior Su Fan, I pay my respects to the Lord Shenzhen. The other party laughed and supported him with his hand. I have heard of your great name for a long time, haha. Let's go inside and talk. Su Fan followed King Zhuan Shenzhen and others into the Jingzhe, and then sat down cross-legged. King Zhuan Shenzhen took a sip of the teacup, and then looked at Su Fan. You kids said you wanted to see me. I don't know what it is. Su Fan glanced at the other group of Chao Xianzong Liangsu realm old monsters in the room. After all, there were so many people here. What if the news was leaked out? It doesn't matter, just tell me. After hearing what King Zhuan Shenzhen said, Su Fan had no choice but to say it. So he told King Zhuan Shenzhen everything about the thousands of Shinran cultivators hiding in the Molan Star region. These people were originally going to the Pegasus Star region to hunt me down. Later, after the Xingai Alliance attacked the Qianshan Star region, they sneaked into the Moran Star region in batches. Although I have killed more than 1,000 people, the remaining Shinran clan cultivators have noticed something wrong. Now they have changed their hiding places, set a trap for me, and hired 2 evil old demons in the fusion realm. After hearing Su Fan's words, the faces of Kang Song God and a group of Chao Xianzong old monsters in the room all became solemn. Thousands of Shinran clans refining Void Realm cultivators are hiding in the Molan Star region, which is a very serious matter. Now the Star Region Alliance is fighting a war with the Xianren clan, and their Chao Xianzong has sent many disciples to participate in the war. But who would have thought that there were so many Xianren clans refining Void Realm cultivators hidden in their rear area? That's thousands of Xianren clans refining Void Realm cultivators. Whether it is stirring up trouble in the rear of the Star Domain Alliance, or returning to the defense line of the Celestial clan in the Qianshan Star Domain, it is a terrifying force that cannot be ignored. King Xuanguard Lord frowned and thought for a while, then said, "This news of yours is of great importance and cannot be ignored. I have to report it to the ancestor of the sect immediately." After he finished speaking, he thought for a while and said, "You stay in the city first. Once this news is verified, we will not treat you badly." Su Fan heard it and hurriedly declined. "Senior, you are too polite, eh?" Before he could finish speaking, King Xuanguard Lord waved his hand and interrupted him. He turned his head and said to King Xianzan next to him in a deep voice, "King, you go and make arrangements." King Xianzan hurriedly said respectfully, "I will obey the order of the sect master." After King Xuanguard Lord gave his instructions, he hurriedly left the house with a group of people. "Devours, you haven't had lunch yet, let's eat first." After he finished speaking, he asked his subordinates to arrange it, and then he invited Su Fan to a luxurious restaurant in Chao Immortal City. For the next 2 days, Su Fan stayed in Chao Immortal City. Chao Immortal Sect arranged him in a luxurious cave outside the city. Anyway, the reception standard was quite high. Even the several female cultivators in this luxurious cave were very surprised. They were a little confused. Why could this guy, who is obviously just a cultivator in the transformation realm, live here? This cave is the highest standard cave in the sect, and it used to be the place to receive the big guys in the fusion realm. In the evening, after Su Fan had dinner, he sat cross-legged in the luxurious hall of the cave to temper his blood. After 9 turns of merit, he exhaled a long breath of turbid air. During this period, Su Fan has not been idle. He practiced dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art 3 times a day in the morning, noon and evening to temper the blood in his body for the 6th round. Just as he was about to take a sip of the tea, the voices of the female cultivators in the cave came to his ears. Although the girls spoke in low voices, to Su Fan, their voices sounded like they were speaking in his ears. "What do you think of this guy? The sect actually arranged him here. How do I know? He is definitely not a disciple of the Immortal Sect. I always feel an evil spirit on him. He is not from the Demon Sect, right? Then we have to be careful and don't be fooled by him. I heard that the big demons of the Demon Sect discovered evil. Haha. You little hoof are being coquettish again. Why do I feel that you hope that big demon will seduce you? He. Just him. This girl has no taste. Even if I have to find one, I have to find a super demon like Su Fan who is notorious." After hearing this, the group of girls all laughed. The words they talked about next were no longer listenable. Su Fan listened to a few sentences and couldn't help but smile and shook his head. No matter which world the girls are from, when a few of them get together, they are a group of female hooligans. At this moment, Su Fan's eyes focused. He felt an extremely powerful aura suddenly appear outside the cave, and he knew that it was the King Xuan God. Chapter 980. What kind of bad problem is this? Seeing that King Xuan God had come, Su Fan quickly stood up from the ground and went to the yard outside. At this time, King Xuan God had just walked into the yard, and he quickly walked over to pay his respects. "Junior, I pay my respects to King Xuan God." King Xuan God waved his hand and said with a smile, let's go in and talk." After he finished speaking, he and Su Fan entered the hall of the cave, and then the two sat down cross-legged. Several girls from the Immortal Sect also walked in from outside, and then quickly brewed a pot of spiritual tea for them. King Xuanguard waved his hand to send them out, then picked up the teacup and took a sip. "I have reported the information you provided to several elders of the sect. They have already contacted many sects in the Moran Star region. Now all the sects have sent messages. The information you provided does exist." At this point, he sighed again. The remaining Celestial Clan cultivators, the various sects have already started to patrol with all their strength. It is estimated that they will be found in no time. We were a little careless this time. If it were not for you, who knows what would have happened. After he finished speaking, he took out a storage ring and placed it in front of Su Fan. "Don't worry, kid, we in the Molan Star region will definitely not treat you unfairly. This is given to you by our Chao Immortal Sect. Other sects will also have rewards later." Su Fan was immediately excited when he heard it. Why was he so polite, making others feel embarrassed? I dare not refuse the gift from the elder. Thank you for your generosity. It is estimated that the remaining celestial clan cultivators in the refining void realm will have nothing to do with him. Fortunately, these sects in the Molan Star region will not treat him unfairly, and they can all give him a lot of rewards. This deal is worthwhile. King Zhuan Shenzhen laughed and said, tomorrow we will attack the hiding place of the celestial clan. You should also go there to join in the fun. You must go, in case you can find a loophole. Those are two evil old demons in the fusion realm. Even if they pick up a corpse, they will be rich one day. Then I'm sorry to bother you, senior. I'll go with you to see the excitement. After Su Fan finished speaking, he suddenly had an idea. Senior, what is the current situation of the battle between the Star Domain Alliance and the Celestials? If you need me, just let me know. Hearing Su Fan's words, Kang Zhuan Shenzhen, who had just picked up the teacup to take a sip, paused for a moment. He put down the teacup and glanced at Su Fan. The Celestials have offended you, which is really unlucky. You are really a perseverant man. Now the Celestials have begun to shrink their defenses and the battle has reached a stalemate. At this point, Kang Zhuan Shenzhen frowned and thought for a while. If you want to continue to retaliate against the Celestials, we can provide you with some convenience. After hearing what the other party said, Su Fan could only laugh in his heart. Damn, aren't my words clear enough? This old bitch actually wants to get something for free from me. There is no such a good thing. Let me come out. Bah. No matter how fierce I am still a notorious demon. If you want me to help you, you can't do it without paying me 180,000 spiritual jades. In fact, since the Star Domain Alliance entered the Kaianshan Star Domain, it has been regarded as revenge for the younger generation. The grudges between the younger generation and the celestial race seem to be nothing now. Hearing Su Fan say this, Kang Zhuan Guard Lord looked at him with a smile. Although both of them were smiling, they both said MPP in their hearts. Let's discuss this matter later. Let's wipe out the celestial race hidden in the Molan Star Domain first. Kang Zhuan Guard Lord chatted with Su Fan for a while and then left. Su Fan glanced at the old man's back and couldn't help curling his lips. I don't believe it. Let's see who can't help it first. Just now, he threw a bait to Kang Zhuan Guard Lord. I don't know if the other party can bite the hook. Now the battle between the Star Domain Alliance and the Celestial race is in a stalemate. The Star Domain Alliance certainly wants to break the current stalemate, but the various Star Domains are no longer as united as they were when they just launched the attack. Now all the Star Domains are thinking about preserving their strength, and no one wants to rush too hard, in case they suffer heavy losses and then become a scapegoat for others. At this time, if there is the help of this little devil, maybe the deadlock on the battlefield can really be broken. After all, what this kid is best at is to go deep behind enemy lines and cause sabotage. Su Fan didn't take these things to heart at all. Anyway, he was not the one who was anxious now, and it didn't matter whether the Star Domain Alliance hired him or not. As soon as King Zhuan Shenzhen walked out of the courtyard of the cave, he saw a female cultivator running over from the side. The girl hugged his arm and whispered, Uncle Sen, who is the guy living inside? Kang Zhuangguan pushed the girl away and said with a stern face, It's not decent to pull and tug at each other, Uncle Sen, you are mean to him. I will tell Grandpa when I return to the family. After hearing what the girl said, Kang Zhuangguan took a deep breath. He was really afraid that she would go back and complain. Anyway, the attack on the hiding place of the celestial race will be launched tomorrow. Even if the news spreads, it will not affect the overall situation. Don't you always want to see that big devil? He is. After hearing what Kang Zhuangguan said, the girl was stunned for a moment, and then jumped up excitedly. Uncle Sen, it's true, he is really Su Fan. Kang Zhuangguan frowned again and said solemnly. Don't go out and say anything. The identity of this kid must not be leaked. This is a big matter related to the sect. In fact, he knew in his heart that it would be useless to say anything. It would be good if the girl could endure it for a few days. Even if she didn't go out and say anything, other people in the sect would spread the news that Su Fan came to the Chaoxianzong. There was no way. Too many people knew about this. The sect was the bad thing. There were too many people and too many mouths, and it was impossible to keep a secret. Anyway, the attack on the hiding place of the Xianren clan would be launched tomorrow, and it might be a few days before the news spread. Su Fan returned to the hall of the cave, and just sat down cross-legged when he saw a girl walking in from outside. Senior, let me make a pot of spiritual tea for you. Su Fan frowned immediately. Didn't I say that you don't need to serve me? He knew in his heart that the disciples who could serve in this place were all descendants of the Chao Xianzong. Since he moved here, a few girls just came to ask a question symbolically, and didn't take him seriously at all. Su Fan didn't say anything, just nodded lightly, and then took out an ancient book and read it. The girl came over and knelt beside Su Fan and began to make tea for him. However, Su Fan felt that this girl always liked to look at him, and even looked at him furtively, as if he was exposed. The girl was slow in her movements, and it took her 2/4 of an hour to brew this pot of spiritual tea. "Senior, do you need anything else? I'll arrange it for you." Su Fan smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work. I'm going to practice soon. Go back and tell them not to disturb me again." The girl looked at Su Fan with a pleasing look, and then immediately lowered her head again. Junior obeys. After she left, Su Fan had just finished a cup of tea when another girl came in with a tray of spiritual fruits. Although Su Fan emphasized again that he was going to practice. But in the next half an hour, several female cultivators on duty in the cave came over and showed their faces, and each of them was pleasing to the eye, as respectful as they could be. What a bad habit. It was not like this when he first came. Although these girls seemed respectful, Su Fan clearly felt their disdain. But why did these girls change their nature now? But he immediately thought about it and understood what was going on. It seems that the news of his arrival in Chao Fairy City must have spread. No wonder these girls became so attentive. They treated him like a giant panda and wanted to come and see something new. Chapter 981, The people in your sect are really generous. The girls in the cave didn't listen to Su Fan's advice at all, and lined up to harass him. In desperation, he had to set up a formation outside the hall of the cave. Su Fan knew that the news of his appearance in Chao Immortal City would spread throughout the Chao Immortal sect in a short time. After setting up the formation, he entered the portable secret realm. As expected, when he appeared in the hall of the cave again the next morning, he found that the yard outside was full of people. These people were almost all female cultivators of Chao Immortal sect, just like people in the previous life went to Chengdu to see giant pandas. Su Fan was very unhappy about the feeling of being treated like a monkey, but he really couldn't do anything to these girls. "What are you doing here? Get out of here." It was not until King Xuangarzan scolded that the girls in the yard scattered like birds and beasts. Su Fan walked out of the hall and paid homage to King Xuangarzan. "Junior, I pay my respects to Lord King Xuan." The old man laughed and said, "I'm sorry to have embarrassed you." Su Fan smiled and said, "It's okay. I just don't know if the news leaked out will affect today's action." "Not really. Now the news is only circulating within the sect. After we launch the attack, it doesn't matter even if it spreads out." After hearing what Lord King Xuan said, Su Fan didn't say anything. "The people in your sect are really magnanimous." Su Fan followed Lord King Xuan and hundreds of elite disciples in the sect to the teleportation hall of Chao Fairy City, and then took the teleportation array to Haoyu Fairy City. The trap set by the Celestial Clan for him was in a mountain not far from Haoyu Fairy City. When Su Fan and Lord King Xuan walked out of the teleportation hall, they saw thousands of elite disciples from various sects gathered outside. And there were more than a dozen masters in the fusion realm, all waiting here. When they saw Lord King Xuan, they all bowed and greeted him. Su Fan did not follow him to join in the fun, but hid in the crowd of disciples from the sect. His appearance also attracted the attention of the disciples of the surrounding sects, and they all cast their eyes on him. After all, he came here with King Xuan God. In their opinion, Su Fan's status must be extraordinary. Su Fan wanted to keep a low profile, but he was hiding in the crowd pretending to be a quail, but he saw King Xuan God waving at him. "Boy, come here, this is." Su Fan had no choice but to bite the bullet and walk out of the crowd, and then came to the front of more than 10 Fusion Realm Masters and paid homage to them. "Junior, I pay my respects to the gods." A group of old guys in the Fusion Realm were quite interested in him, and began to look at him seriously. In fact, since Su Fan became famous, these Fusion Realm Masters in Jiaoxu Realm have been quite interested in him. After all, Su Fan's record is too amazing. If you don't see it with your own eyes, you may think he is bragging. "You are Su Fan, now we can finally see the real person. We have all heard of your great name for a long time, but you don't look that fierce. I was shocked when I heard that you came to our Molan Star region. I was afraid that someone in our sect would offend you." Su Fan was so angry when he was teased by a bunch of old guys in front of so many people. These old bastards were obviously doing it on purpose. The disciples of the sect gathered around the teleportation hall, of course, also heard the teasing of more than 10 masters of the fusion realm. When they knew that this person was Su Fan, they were immediately shocked. Su Fan has been too famous in recent years, especially the countless battles he has created, which have shocked all the cultivators in the Jiaoxia world. No one expected that this big devil would appear in the Haoyu Fairy City today. Of course, Su Fan's reputation in the Jiaoxia world is not very good. Because this fellow was too brutal, especially when he sacrificed more than 1 million Celestial Clan cultivators in Kaianshan Star region a while ago, and built a horrifying human bone tower. Therefore, many cultivators have complaints about Su Fan's brutal methods, especially those disciples of the Immortal Sect who think he is more cruel and violent than the evil cultivators. Okay, it's time for us to go. Fortunately, Kang Zhuangod came out in time to rescue him, and the old guys stopped teasing him, and their figures gradually disappeared into the air. Seeing more than a dozen fusion masters leave, the elite cultivators of various sects gathered around the transmission hall, boarded flying boats, and roared away into the distance. From beginning to end, no one greeted Su Fan. Even the disciples of the Chao Immortal Sect who came with him ignored him. This group of disciples of the Immortal Sect just left Su Fan alone here. Looking at the flying boats roaring away in the sky, he felt bad. Damn, these disciples of the Immortal Sect took him too seriously. Su Fan could see that at least most of the disciples of the sect regarded him as an evil cultivator. Of course, the female cultivators of those sects were an exception, and they didn't care much about their identities. Su Fan originally wanted to cooperate with the Star Domain Alliance, but now it seems that he should forget it. He and these people are not the same kind of people at all. After dealing with the celestial race, he couldn't stay in Jiaoxia realm anymore, because his reputation was too bad. Su Fan waved his hand lightly, and a fist-sized bird was summoned from the secret realm he carried with him. The ghost crow circled around him for several circles, and then landed on his shoulder, chirping for a while, and then soared into the sky. Boom! With a violent roar, the dark magic smoke spread. A ferocious monster with a wingspan of nearly 100 feet suddenly appeared above Su Fan. Fuck. When did the ghost crow become a 7th level magic beast? The speed of its breakthrough is too fast. There is no way. There is no logic in the breakthrough of the demons and magic beasts. They can continuously receive inheritance and gain magical powers by relying on the inheritance in their blood. Maybe they can break through their realm after sleeping. Su Fan jumped and landed on the back of the ghost crow, and then patted it. Let's go, catch up with them, cry. Hearing Su Fan's words, the ghost crow screamed towards the sky. The huge magic beast with a wingspan of more than 100 feet suddenly appeared in the Haoyu Fairy City, which also caused panic among the monks in the city. The shrill scream of the ghost crow before made the city in chaos. Many low-level monks in the Golden Core realm of the Foundation establishment stage fainted directly, and even the Yuanying transformation monk felt uncomfortable after hearing it. Oh my god, am I seeing right? That's a rank 7 monster. Are the demons coming to kill us? How could a rank 7 monster appear in Haoyu Fairy City? A rank 7 monster appeared in the city. Is there no one to take care of it? Chapter 982. What a bunch of cowards. If it were in the past, Su Fan would not be so arrogant, and would not allow the ghost crow to be so indulgent. But he was just left here by a group of sect disciples. How could he not have any temper in his heart? I am Su Fan. If I don't show you some color, do you really think that my notorious reputation is blown up by paying self-media to brag? At this time, more than 10 cultivators in the city rose to the sky and blocked Su Fan. Fellow Taoist He Fang, you condone the monsters to hurt people in my Haoyu Xiansheng. I am Su Fan. Do you really want to stop me? After hearing Su Fan's words, the more than 10 cultivators in the opposite side of the God transformation realm were immediately timid. Although Su Fan's reputation is notorious among the sect disciples, it does not mean that they are not afraid. The cultivators in the city also heard his words, and one by one began to flee madly outside the city. In their opinion, this big devil suddenly appeared in Haoyu Xiansheng, and someone in Haoyu Xianzhuang must have offended him. When the gods fight, the little ghosts suffer. If this big devil goes crazy in Haoyu Immortal City, they certainly don't want to be harmed by innocent people. That's Su Fan, a ruthless man who sacrificed more than 1 million Shinran cultivators. If they don't run away at this time, will they stay here and wait for death? At this moment, The entire Haoyu Immortal City has been completely messed up. Countless cultivators desperately ran out of the city, and some even fought each other. The more than 10 disciples of the Haoyu Immortal sect on the opposite side didn't know what to do. They contacted the high-level leaders of the sect, but they haven't received a reply until now. Get out, with Su Fan's shout, an invisible and intangible sound wave of destruction swept across the entire Haoyu Immortal City in an instant. More than a dozen Haoyu Immortal sect cultivators in the spirit transformation realm who were suspended in the air on the opposite side were blown away and fell to the ground with crackling sounds. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he released his spiritual sense to scan the city. He found the aura of a large number of old monsters in the refining void realm, but no one dared to stand up again. At this time, who dared to take the initiative to provoke this big devil? If he holds a grudge against them, they will not be able to live in the future. What a bunch of cowards. I have ridden on the face of your Haoyu Xianzong, but no disciple dared to stand up. Let's go. Su Fan patted the back of the ghost crow, and the nearly 100-foot-long wings flapped violently. The huge demon body instantly soared into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. This big demon is too much, you, a demon, dare to bully my Haoyu Xianzong because there is no one. It's unreasonable, it's too outrageous. If you dare to come to my Haoyu Xianchang to act wild again, I will kill you. It was not until the demon body of the ghost crow disappeared that the cultivators in the city breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, the disciples of the transformation realm and the refining void realm rose up from all over the city and began to curse. That was all they could do, just to vent their anger. Now the ghost crow was already a 7th level magic beast, and its flying speed was much faster than before. It only took a short while for it to catch up with the flying boats of the sect disciples in front. Su Fan was not polite either, and controlled the ghost crow to fly over the flying boats, almost whizzing past them. The pair of demon wings, which were nearly 100 feet long, flapped violently, forming a wave of air that was like a tidal wave, blowing the densely packed flying boats in the air to the east and west. The sect disciples in the flying boats all began to curse loudly at the ghost crow above. But they only cursed a few words, and could only watch the huge demon body of the ghost crow, with a wingspan of nearly 100 feet, whizzing past their heads, and disappeared in an instant. Su Fan controlled the ghost crow and flew eastward for half a day. Boom boom, suddenly, a terrifying roar came from afar, followed by an extremely vast airflow. Su Fan quickly controlled the ghost crow and raised his head to the sky, avoiding the aftermath of this horror. Then, earth-shaking roars continued to come. It seems that the various fusion masters in front should have already made a move, and the 2 evil old demons must be in danger. Not to mention the joint attack of more than 10 fusion masters. Even if only one came, the 2 might not be able to take it. There is no way. The strength of the evil cultivators is so weak. Although they have many crooked ways, they will definitely be exposed once they see the truth, and they are nothing. Of course, no matter how weak the 2 evil old demons in the fusion realm are, he can't deal with them. After all, the gap in strength between the 2 sides is too big. If there were not more than 10 fusion masters from the sect in front, he would not even dare to come and pick up the leak. At this moment, flying boats from various sects also flew over and were suspended in the air. Su Fan stood on the back of the ghost crow with his hands behind his back, looking at the battle in the distance with a serious look. I didn't expect that the 2 evil old demons in the fusion realm were still so strong that they didn't end the fight after so long. At this time, a cloud of black smoke swept in from a distance. Su Fan immediately became excited. He didn't expect that he would really get a chance. He turned his head and glanced at the flying boats of various sects suspended in the air nearby, and then shouted loudly. That old demon in the fusion realm is coming. You guys get out of here quickly. Don't waste time here. At this time, a cultivator in the refining realm of a sect jumped out of the flying boat. Why do you want us to leave? Su Fan didn't expect that someone would dare to jump out. He really admired the courage of this idiot. He turned his head and stared at the other person with a stern look, then pointed at him. Say what you just said again. The other party was about to speak, but was pulled back to the flying boat by several fellow disciples. What a joke. You are provoking this big devil. Do you want to bring disaster to the sect? One of the disciples in the refining void realm smiled and bowed to Su Fan. Devours, we can help you if we stay. You guys want to help me? You can only be a burden if you stay here. Get out of here. The other party didn't expect Su Fan to save their face, so they had to smile and bow. then returned to the flying boat and flew away. The other flying boats didn't dare to stay here, and they all scattered. You guys are just a bunch of bastards. And you still want to steal monsters from me? Su Fan has been suppressing his anger in his heart. Since he came to Heiaoyu Xiancheng, he has been teased by those old bastards. After all, they are all big guys in the fusion realm, so let them tease. But so many sect disciples actually left him here alone, so the sect disciples of Moulin Star region were completely pissed off. Therefore, Su Fan didn't give them any face at all, and deliberately rubbed the faces of the sect disciples on the ground. Chapter 983, It's really a bit of a sledgehammer to crack a nut. At this moment, the thick magic smoke in the distance was whistling towards him. A figure could be vaguely seen in the magic fog, which should be an evil old demon in the fusion realm. At this time, Su Fan's figure had blocked the other party's way. Senior, let's start, he sent a thought to the big boss of the upper realm of the witch sect. Boom, an extremely thick blood-colored light column instantly fell from the sky and enveloped him. Su Fan's whole body was covered with dense blood-colored witch patterns, and his strength began to increase continuously until he reached the middle stage of the refining realm and calmed down. The figure in the thick magic fog saw Su Fan blocking him, and a scornful smile appeared in his eyes. But before the Jiayumo patriarch could make a move, he felt his eyes go black, and his mind was temporarily absent for a few breaths. Su Fan took advantage of the Rakshasa Dushan crying soul demon sound to make the other party fall into a short state of absent-mindedness, took out a 9th-level fairy talisman from the ring, and threw it over. He did not launch the 2 attack jade talismans because he sensed that the other party seemed to be seriously injured. After all, the 2 evil old demons were besieged by more than 10 sect masters in the fusion realm. It was already very remarkable that the other party could escape. Facing the seriously injured Jiayumo patriarch, Su Fan felt that he should first launch a 9th-level immortal talisman to test it. After all, the 2 attack jade talismans given to him by the Luo family ancestor were treasures equivalent to a full-strength attack by a master in the fusion realm. Such precious treasures, used to deal with the injured evil old demon on the opposite side, were really a bit of a butcher knife to kill a chicken. Boom boom, the sky, which was originally clear and blue, was suddenly covered by endless dark clouds. The thick dark clouds were rolling violently, and arcs of electricity were rolling in the dark clouds. Every time they flashed, there would be a rumbling thunder. The dark clouds rolled slowly, gradually forming a huge black cloud vortex. The black cloud vortex was filled with flashes of lightning, as if there was an extremely terrifying terror that was about to descend from the vortex to the human world. The extremely huge pressure enveloped everyone, making them feel extremely humble and insignificant. It was silent, and it was as if the world was completely annihilated. The void above the valley was twisted, as if it would collapse in the next moment. Su Fan looked up at the dark cloud in the sky. He never thought that what he had just activated was actually a 9th-level thunder talisman. From the dark magic fog covering the other party's figure, it was known that the other party's main practice was the yin system. The thunder talisman was specifically used to counter all kinds of ghosts and monsters, especially against the magic smoke ghosts. It would definitely be twice the result with half the effort. It was the most effective to use it against the evil old demon on the opposite side. Suddenly, an extremely dazzling light flashed by, followed by a shocking explosion. Boom boom, with a huge roar that shocked the whole world, a purple thunderbolt that could destroy the heavens and earth instantly tore through the dark void and violently fell from the sky. It instantly smashed into the thick magic smoke, and the dark magic fog was shattered. The purple thunderbolt that could destroy the heavens and earth struck the body of Jiayumo ancestor. He was already seriously injured, and just now in order to escape from the battlefield, he had also used the blood-bursting secret method, which almost overdrew all the blood and energy in his body. At this time, the strength of Jiayumo ancestor had almost gone to 70% or 80%. So even though it was only a 9th-level immortal talisman, the purple thunderbolt still took away most of his life. Su Fan had been closely sensing the other party's state. As soon as the purple thunderbolt struck the other party, he had already moved. As soon as he thought about it, a dark big sword suddenly appeared in his hand. Zhang. At this time, a sword chant that could reach the sky and the earth resounded through the void. The sword chanting sounded with an extremely piercing whistle, and the entire space was shaken to the point of vibrating with visible vibrations. A ray of sword light seemed to emerge from nothingness, and in an instant it cut through the space and tore through the darkness. With a majestic momentum like a tidal wave, It swept up a mighty force and slashed down. Swish! This extremely sharp sword light whistled across the dark night sky, and the entire world seemed to be split in half by this sword. The extremely cold murderous aura permeated everywhere, and even the sect disciples who hid far away could clearly feel this murderous aura that was like a substance, and the air around them seemed to have become sharper. Facing Su Fan's terrifying sword light that was like destroying the world, Jiu Moleozu just waved his hand casually. Boom boom, Su Fan's sword light exploded instantly, and Su Fan only felt a vast and boundless pressure, which instantly bounced him away, and he flew dozens of miles before he could barely stabilize his body. Bang! Su Fan fell heavily to the ground. He struggled to get up from the ground, his face became solemn. Although the strength of the evil old demon opposite him was already 70% or 80%, he just blocked his sword with his bare hands. But Su Fan was not discouraged. He raised the black sword high with both hands and slashed it fiercely. Slash against the wind. At this time, a majestic and domineering sword light flashed in the dark sky. This sword light was full of determination and no regrets, as if it was slashing the last sword in his life. Straightforward and fierce, as domineering as a gust of wind sweeping fallen leaves, the sword energy tore through the sky, killing gods and Buddhas, and killing all the evil demons in the world. Jiu Mo Patriarch stared, and couldn't help but be shocked. This kid is only in the state of transformation, but the power of the law contained in his sword moves is so strong that he will be able to touch the avenue in no time. This time, he did not catch the sword with his bare hands, but took out a fist-sized skull and threw it into the air. Boom! As a burst of magic smoke exploded, the fist-sized skull instantly turned into a size of several dozen feet, blocking the Jiu Mo ancestor. Boom boom boom! Su Fan's sword light actually chopped in the huge skull, making a loud sound that shook the earth. He was once again shocked and flew backwards, flying dozens of miles before he stabilized his body, but the huge skull was also chopped off by a sword. Su Fan stabilized his body, and he sensed the state of the evil old demon opposite him, and his body was almost exhausted. As soon as he thought about it, his figure suddenly disappeared from the spot. Then a figure was seen sweeping across dozens of miles of space like thunder and lightning, and came quickly with a terrible momentum. By the time Su Fan rushed to the Jiu Mo ancestor, he had already transformed into a huge demon body hundreds of feet tall, and behind him rose up an ancient demonized bear over 1,000 feet tall. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 984, Among the Cultivators with Demon Seeds, None of Them Are Simple. Boom boom boom, Su Fan's huge demon body, which was hundreds of feet tall, slammed into the body of Jiu Mo ancestor. This evil old demon was already injured, and later he overdrew all his blood and ki, and used secret techniques to escape from the battlefield. Even if he was an old demon in the fusion realm, he could not withstand such a fierce impact from Su Fan's demonized body. Bang! Jiu Mo ancestor was knocked into the air, and Su Fan followed him like a shadow. Suddenly, a phantom of an ancient demon stone ape rose up behind him. Stone ape axe, Su Fan swung his right arm and chopped it down fiercely, hitting Jiu Mo ancestor hard. Bang! Jiu Mo ancestor was thrown to the ground like a rag bag, smashing out a deep huge pit, and he was dead and could not die anymore. Boom! With a thunderous roar, a thick demonic smoke rose into the sky. The rolling demonic smoke boiled violently, and instantly condensed into a phantom of a foreign demon that was hundreds of feet long. Moreover, the phantom of this foreign demon became more and more solid. After a while, the huge phantom was almost real. The dark demonic smoke lingered around the demon. Through the diffuse demonic smoke, the appearance of the demon could be vaguely seen. Su Fan had already suffered a loss when he was at the Storm Island Reef. How could he make such a mistake again? The strength of the Jiu Mo ancestor was already 70% or 80%, but the clone of the demon that was parasitic in his body was the most dangerous. Without thinking, he took out the J talisman given to him by the Luo family ancestor from the ring, activated it and threw it towards the condensed demonic smoke in the huge pit in the distance. Boom! A dazzling light was generated and swept across the group of magic smoke in an instant. The shadow of the great demon that had already condensed into shape was immediately broken up and turned into countless groups of black smoke and scattered away. But when the dazzling light disappeared, the dense groups of magic smoke began to gather together again, and once again condensed into a shadow of the great demon. Su Fan's eyes focused, sensing that the shadow of the great demon that had not yet condensed in the group of magic smoke had become very weak. The Jade Talisman had the effect of a full-strength attack from a master in the fusion realm, and it immediately weakened the strength of the great demon clone that had not yet condensed into shape by 90%. His figure disappeared from the original place in an instant, and whistled over from a distance of more than 10 miles, and suddenly lifted up the neck of the great demon shadow that was holding it. Boom! Su Fan suddenly threw the shadow of the great demon that had not yet condensed into shape to the ground, making a loud noise that shook the earth. Bang! Bang! Su Fan's sturdy demon arm picked up the giant demon phantom that had not yet gathered, swung it up and threw it to the ground again and again, until the giant demon phantom was smashed into pieces, and then he let it go. However, the giant demon phantom had already been smashed to pieces by him. Su Fan came to the huge pit, stretched out his hand to suck the corpse of Jiu Mo Patriarch into his hand, and then put it into the Juyin secret realm. At this time, he noticed that more than 10 fusion realm masters from various sects were floating in the air in the distance. Su Fan didn't want to have any more interactions with these old guys from the sects. He bowed to the fusion realm masters, and then summoned the ghost crow hovering in the air in the distance. He jumped onto the back of the ghost crow and patted its back. "Ghost crow, let's go!" Cry. The ghost crow screamed towards the sky, and then flapped its magic wings nearly 100 feet long, whistling into the sky, and disappeared in an instant. A group of fusion realm masters from various sects in the distance were all shocked. This kid really killed that evil old demon. It's impossible. He is only in the transformation realm. How could he jump 2 levels to kill the fusion realm old monster? That evil old demon is already seriously injured. The most terrifying thing is that he actually threw the big demon parasitic in the old demon's body to death. I didn't believe those rumors before, but now I believe it. This little demon is incredible. After listening to them, Kang Juan Shenzhen couldn't help but complain in his heart. Did you all still not believe that this kid could create those heaven-defying battle records again and again? Although Jiu Mo Laozu is an evil old demon, it is true that his strength is very weak, but after all, he is still a fusion realm old monster. Moreover, the Jiu Mo Patriarch was seriously injured, and he thought that he had almost overdrawn all his blood and ki by performing the secret technique. But if you ask the disciples of various sects to try, let alone the disciples of the transformation realm, even the most talented cultivators of the refining void realm would not be able to take down the Jiu Mo Patriarch. Not to mention the great demon clone parasitic in his body. Even if these big brothers of the fusion realm took action, they might not be able to stop him. Originally, he had told some high-level monsters in the Molin Star region about what Su Fan mentioned that day. Unfortunately, no one in these sects wanted to get too involved with Su Fan, a little devil. Today, he brought Su Fan to the Hao Yu Xiancheng, but look at these old guys teasing him as soon as they came up. The disciples under the various sects did something even more extreme, and left Su Fan alone there. Even if we take a step back, after all, he was the one who informed the top leaders of the Molin Star region of such important news, but look at what you guys have done. It will be difficult to use this kid in the future. Su Fan, this little devil, seems to smile every day, but this kid is also born with a proud character. He fought alone, and no force has ever supported him behind the scenes, but he still created the current fierce reputation. Since ancient times, any cultivator with a demon seed is not simple. Fellow Taoist King Zhuan, we didn't know this little devil before, but now it seems that this kid is good. If he really sneaks into the rear of the Celestial clan, maybe he can really change the current situation of the war. Kang Zhuan got hurted and sneered. What the hell did you do earlier? With that kid's temper, he will not have any intersection with the Star Domain Alliance in the future. You offended him, go find him yourself. Anyway, I can't afford to lose my face and go find him again. After hearing what Kang Zhuan God said, more than a dozen fusion masters from various sects became anxious. Fellow Taoist Kang Zhuan, this is a major matter concerning our Star Domain Alliance. No matter what, you have to find that kid back. Yes, you go and try. I heard that the little devil is extremely greedy for money. We can spend spirit stones to hire him. Yes. If not, we can just hit him with spirit stones. I just don't believe it. Legend has it that this kid is a money grubber. The Wangchuan Palace and the Wu Aidao resolved their grievances with him by compensating with spirit stones. Lord King Zhuan sighed. He knew that this tough job would fall on him in the end. Chapter 985. You tell them to go away, as far away as possible. After Su Fan left, it was already very late, so he could only return to Haoyu Fairy City. As a result, he was trapped outside the city because he made too much noise when he left Haoyu Fairy City just now. Haoyu Fairy City strengthened its defense, so a long queue formed at the city gate. Devours, what happened to Haoyu Fairy City today? I heard that something happened in the city today. What happened? You know that big devil Su Fan, he came today, is it true? Then I'd better leave. It is said that wherever that big devil goes, there will be mountains of corpses and seas of blood. It's okay, he's gone. I saw it with my own eyes. I escaped from the city this morning. It's not certain that he's gone. Who knows if there will be any more things happening in the city? Su Fan stood in the crowd, listening to the discussions of many cultivators, and he couldn't help but smile bitterly. It seems that Laozi's reputation as a disaster star cannot be washed away. I really can't stay in Jiaoxu realm any longer. After waiting for half an hour, Su Fan finally entered the city. He found an inn and settled down. As soon as he walked into the guest room, the communication array disc on his waist vibrated slightly. Su Fan took it off his waist and saw that it was a message from Kang Zhuan Shenzhen. Boy, let's talk about the thing you told me last time. Talk about it. We are not on the same path, and we can't make plans with different paths. Forget it, senior, I have other things recently and don't have time. Boy, listen to our conditions first, talk about it. Even if you talk nonsense, I won't pay attention to you. Senior, this is not about money. Boy, I know that I brought you to Haoyu Xiancheng and they treated you badly. You also know it, then bring me here. Fuck you. He knew in his heart that this old bitch must have known it in advance, or guessed it. Anyway, Su Fan was very unhappy. Senior, I have already left Haoyu Xiancheng. We will talk about this matter later when we have a chance. Didn't you already live in Longlan Hotel in the city? What the hell? After being exposed for his lies, even if Su Fan was shameless, he couldn't hold his face. Oh, senior, let me be frank, you and I are not the same kind of people. Let's not get together. Boy, don't you plan to seek revenge on the Celestial Clan? It's none of your business whether I take revenge or not. Senior, I have already taken revenge. I have sacrificed more than 1 million Celestial Clan cultivators. No matter how big the revenge is, it's all revenge. Seeing that Su Fan was not willing to listen, Kang Zhuan Shenzhen was really helpless. He, a great man in the fusion realm, couldn't beg him humbly to a small cultivator in the god transformation realm. He knew that Su Fan was angry. He had already caused a scene in Haoyu Xiancheng during the day. Boy, let's talk about this. How many spirit stones? You actually talk to me about money. Who do you think I am? Senior, I'm giving you face, so I didn't say anything else. I'll leave tomorrow, and you don't have to worry about these things anymore. Su Fan threw the communication array into the ring after he finished speaking, so that even if someone came to find him, he wouldn't be able to receive the message. Now he was fed up with these people from the sect, and just wanted to get as far away from them as possible. Su Fan stood up from the ground, and just as he was about to enter the portable secret realm, the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist began to vibrate slightly. Su Fan took off the jade talisman from his waist and took a look, and immediately smiled bitterly. Devours, several gold medal customers of our Ruai Pavilion in the Star Domain Alliance jointly proposed to the top management of the organization to contact you for a transaction. Because you are also our gold medal customer, we need your consent. Tell them to get out, as far away as possible. Okay, I'll reject them right away. Damn it, I can't stay here any longer. The old guys already knew that he lived here, and they would definitely come to harass him soon. Thinking of this, Su Fan's eyes condensed. He first activated the secret method and left a clone in the house. Then he used the evil secret method to instantly change his body shape, appearance and breath. Su Fan pushed open the door of the guest room and left the inn directly, mixed into the dense flow of people on the street, and then quietly left the Haoyu Fairy City. After he left the city, he used the escape technique and disappeared on the spot. As expected, not long after Su Fan left the city, Kang Zhuan Shenzhen brought several fusion realm masters to the inn where he lived. This kid lives here. Fortunately, I kept an eye on him and specially arranged someone to keep an eye on him. Otherwise, I really couldn't find him. After Kang Zhuan Shenzhen finished speaking, he led people into the inn, but when they came to the guest room, no, This kid ran away. After all, he was a fusion realm master. As soon as he entered the inn, he felt that the breath in the room was a little wrong. Kang Xuan opened the door, looked at the clone in the room, and then sighed. This little bastard, you are so bad. We are not forcing you to do anything, we just want to meet you and have a good talk. But this kid didn't even give us a chance to meet and talk. It seems that we have offended this kid so much that he doesn't want to meet us. After hearing his words, several big men in the fusion realm showed a trace of helplessness on their faces. It's okay. It is said that this kid is a client of Ruai Pavilion, and someone has contacted Ruai Pavilion. As soon as the big man finished speaking, the communication array disc on his waist vibrated slightly. He took off the communication array disc from his waist, took a look at the message on it, and then sighed. I just received a message from fellow Taoist Mu Yuan. That kid is also a gold medal client of Ruai Pavilion, and he refused to contact us. After hearing his words, Kang Xuan and others all smiled bitterly. This kid is only in the spiritualization realm. How can he be the gold medal customer of Ruai Pavilion? Kang Xuan pursed his lips and said, what did you do in the first place? Now you have offended someone. A big man in the Hitality realm next to him heard it and said indignantly, it's as if he can't do it without him. Can he alone change the stalemate on the battlefield? Kang Xuan laughed and said, I don't know whether this kid can change the situation of the war. I only know that several adults in the alliance have reached a consensus and now order us to reach an agreement with Su Fan. I don't care about what happens next. After he said that, he turned around and left. Several big men in the Hitality realm next to him hurriedly grabbed him. What a joke, how dare they let him go at this time? Even if they contacted that little devil, they still had to rely on Kang Xuan to talk to that kid in the end. Chapter 986 Master, are you confused? Su Fan left the Heiau Immortal City. He didn't know where to go next, so he simply summoned the ghost crow and whistled all the way to the east. He flew for several days before settling down in a small market. Don't underestimate those big brothers in the fusion realm of the sect. You must not go to the big city. It's better to hide in this small market for a few days. Su Fan rented a cave in the market, and then plunged into the portable secret realm. He stayed in it for half a month without coming out. He hid in this remote small market, but made many sect leaders in the Moulin Star region anxious. Although they mobilized a large number of manpower to search for Su Fan's whereabouts, and arranged people to guard the transmission halls of major immortal cities. But after half a month of tossing, they didn't even touch Su Fan's figure. Su Fan has been hunted by various people for many years. He has too much experience in fighting. How could he be found by those people from the sect? Although Su Fan is a money grubber, it depends on what the matter is. He even refused the rewards agreed by the various sects, just because he didn't want to have anything to do with this group of people anymore. He told the local sects about the news that thousands of Shinran clan monks were lurking in the Moulin Star region. Not only did he not get a good ending, but he was also treated so poorly by them. Su Fan's temper was already good. If it was really as the rumors said, he, the big devil, would definitely cause a bloody storm in the Moulin Star region. Because they couldn't find Su Fan, many sects in the Moulin Star region could only ask for help from the Ruai Pavilion again, hoping that they could mediate and contact him. But Ken Yu contacted Su Fan several times, but he was rejected. As for the conditions, Su Fan didn't listen at all, because he was afraid that he would be shaken. Su Fan knew himself too well. Facing a pile of white spiritual jade, he really couldn't guarantee that he could still stick to his original intention. This made many sect leaders in the Moulin Star region very anxious. Now the war between the Star Region Alliance and the Shinran clan in the Kyanshan Star region has been in a stalemate for a long time. There is no way. The more than 10 star regions of the Star Alliance have long lost a mentality of unity. The Celestials have begun to seek help from their fellow races in other worlds. Although the Celestials have poor reproduction ability, compared with other races, this ethnic group is very united. Facing the crisis of extinction, the fellow races in other worlds can really send reinforcements to rescue the Celestials in the Jiaoxu realm. If it were not for this, with the sparse population of the Celestials, I don't know how many times they have been exterminated. This news is an imminent problem for the Star Alliance. Since King Xuan Shenzhen reported Su Fan's idea, no one took it seriously at first. Until a late-stage fusion realm boss, inspired by a younger generation, began to study Su Fan's many battle records and immediately took him seriously. He began to gather a group of late-stage fusion realm peak monsters in the Star Alliance to study the possibility of hiring Su Fan. After research, a group of top bosses in the Star Alliance unanimously decided to recruit Su Fan at all costs. This also put a huge pressure on many sect leaders in the Molan Star domain. At noon, Su Fan was lying on a recliner by the pond next to the thatched cottage, sipping spiritual tea leisurely. Sister Zhen, who was kneeling on the side, stuffed the peeled spiritual fruit into his mouth from time to time. At this time, the jade talisman of Huanquan Tower on Su Fan's waist vibrated slightly. He took it off and took a look, and found that it was a message from Zuming. Zigu, the Star Domain Alliance has found the top leaders of the organization, and I hope you can contact them. Why? Huanquan Tower has so many idiots. No one can help, Zigu. It's nothing to meet or contact. You said it lightly. You said you would meet me, then what am I? I wonder why you, Huanquan Tower, are joining in the fun. We, Huanquan Tower, also have business in Molan Star region. They can't find you, so they come to us for help. Su Fan really couldn't understand why the Huanquan Tower couldn't do anything. Okay, you don't know what's going on here, so don't get involved, okay, Zigu. After all, you are a member of our Huanquan Tower. You have to give face to the top leaders of the organization. Su Fan got angry when he heard it. Huanquan Tower is a lot more. Then I will announce my withdrawal from Huanquan Tower now, okay? Zuming on the other side got angry when he heard it. If Su Fan withdrew from Huanquan Tower, the top leaders of the organization would tear him to pieces. Zigu, what are you talking about in anger? This is not what I am talking about in anger. If you keep pushing me, I will really quit the group. I didn't say anything angry, just do what you need to do, Zigu. Just tell me how I treat you. Not very good. How did the news that I asked you to contact the Pegasus Star region leak out last time? Fortunately, the Ruai Pavilion got the information, otherwise I would have been blocked by the Celestials in the Pegasus Star region. Seeing the message sent by Su Fan, Zuming was silent immediately. Last time, he had just sent a message to the Pegasus Star region and the news was leaked, which almost made him explode. The organization's intelligence system has become received now. Su Fan put away the jade talisman of the Huanquan Tower and curled his lips. How did the Huanquan Tower, an organization that is so incompetent and loves to play, pass on its legacy for so many years without any problems? At this time, the jade talisman on his waist vibrated slightly again. He picked it up and saw that it was a message from Qin Yu of the Ruai Pavilion. Devours, please contact those people in Molan Star region. I can't stand it anymore. Many of the top bosses in Molan Star region are clients of Ruai Pavilion. If they exert their strength at the same time, Ruai Pavilion really can't stand it. I don't want to contact them now. The people in this sect are all crazy. Devours, you have to think about me. Please, I owe you a favor. Look at Qin Yu. He also begs people but he feels comfortable. Look at that stupid Zuming. He is like a fool. The elders use the high-level organization to pressure me. It's strange that he can be happy. Okay, it's okay to contact them. Let them give up this idea completely. Okay, I'll give you a face. Thank you, Devours. I owe you a favor. Wait a moment, I will transfer it to you immediately. After a while, a message appeared on the jade talisman. I am Qi Horn from the Heao Zong. I don't care who you are, no matter who comes today, it won't work anyway. I'm listening, Senior, you say? We are going to hire you to go to the front line of Qianshan Star region. Senior, I don't have time recently. I know that you were treated poorly in Heao Qianshan. I have instructed the sect's law enforcement hall to send all the monks of our sect who were present that day to the underground Yuhan Palace for 10 years of reflection. The other sects will also punish all the disciples who were present that day. And in order to thank you for providing such important information to our Molan Star region, each of the several major super sects in our Molan Star region will provide you with a reward. Senior, I don't want a reward. I can't agree to your hiring me, boy. I'm Li Kangxuan. If you agree, we will pay 100,000 spiritual jades. What the hell? They said 100,000 spiritual jades. I had accumulated hundreds of years of wealth, but I could only get 30,000 or 40,000 spiritual jades. Senior, let me think about it for a few days before I reply to you. Su Fan put away the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion, then raised his head and fell on the recliner. Master, what's wrong with you? Seeing Su Fan's tangled face, Sister Zhen came to him and snuggled into his arms. Nothing, After he finished speaking, he glanced at Sister Zhen in his arms, and then asked, Sister Zhen, you said that someone spent 100,000 spiritual jades to hire me, but I hate them so much. What should I do? 100,000 spiritual jades, Sister Zhen screamed when she heard it, and suddenly sat up from Su Fan's arms, and then looked straight at him. Master, are you confused? That's 100,000 spiritual jades. What does this have to do with you hating them? After hearing what Sister Zhen said, Su Fan covered his face. Well, just pretend I didn't ask. You are more obsessed with money than me. Chapter 987. Life should be like this. Although Sister Zhen is obsessed with money, it seems that what she said is not wrong. That's 100,000 spiritual jades, and it has nothing to do with whether they are disliked or not. It's not bad, it's making money, not shabby. Anyway, he has to go to Kyanshan Star region and enter the rear of the celestial race. It must be the safest and most convenient to get help from the Star Region Alliance. And there is money to be made, 100,000 spiritual jades. This deal is worth doing. Su Fan thought about it, then took out the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion and sent a message to Qin Yu. Tell them that I agree, but I have a few conditions that must be agreed to by me, or no deal. Oh, Taoist friend, what are your conditions? You might as well tell me. I will negotiate with them, and I guarantee that you will be satisfied. Okay, then leave it to Qin Yu. This guy came from a black shop, and he must be better than himself in negotiating conditions. First, do not reveal my identity. Second, I will arrange my own actions and no one else is allowed to check them. Third, provide me with something I need. Su Fan knew that the last two items were fine, but the first item was useless. He found that the sex in the Mulin Star region should have lived too well and had not experienced any great hardships. He didn't know how to describe them. For the sake of 100,000 spiritual jades, he was not going to bother with these idiots. Qin Yu was very fast. In the evening, Su Fan received a message from him. Devours, I have negotiated for you. In addition to the 3 conditions you proposed, I have also secured for you a luxury flying boat for the entire journey, high-end spiritual food, and luxurious cave residence. If you are not satisfied, the other party must replace it with compensation. What the hell? Brother, if you do this, will people think I am a big shot? This is not good. Devours, you are Su Fan, can you be the same as others? Damn, when he heard Qin Yu say this, he always put himself in the shoes of some of the traffic stars in his previous life. Alright, since Qin Yu has been negotiated, I will also enjoy the 5-star service. When will they come to pick me up? Tell me where you are now, and I will ask them to send a luxurious flying boat to pick you up. If you are not satisfied with the grade of the flying boat, ask them to change it immediately. This is already written in the transaction agreement between the two parties. What's the point of changing it? It's good enough to have a flying boat. In fact, this market is only 2 or 3 hours away from the nearest fairy city by driving a ghost crow. That's about it. That won't do. You are a gold medal customer of our Ruai Pavilion and represent the face of the organization. Well, from today on, I also have an agency. The actions of the sex in the Mulin Star region were not slow either. Less than an hour after he contacted Qin Yu, he received Qin Yu's message. You should leave the market now. A luxurious flying boat has landed at the entrance of the market. Su Fan hurriedly came out of the secret realm and walked out of the market. He saw a medium-sized flying boat parked in an open space not far away. There were also many poor casual cultivators around, pointing at the flying boat. Wow! This flying boat is so beautiful. I wonder if I can have one in my lifetime. Stupid. You should have a chance to ride on it once in your pitiful lifetime. Isn't it just a flying boat? It's not like I haven't ridden one before, idiot. Open your eyes and take a good look. The material of this flying boat is all 10,000 years dragon wood. It is said that it contains a trace of real dragon blood. If you take a little bit, it will be enough for you to cultivate to the nascent soul realm. This kind of flying boat is not for ordinary people to ride. At least you have to be a big shot in the God transformation realm. How could those big shots in the God transformation realm come to a place like ours where rabbits don't shit? Su Fan walked through the crowd and listened to the discussions of these casual cultivators, and couldn't help but smile bitterly. When he walked through the crowd and walked towards the flying boat, the casual cultivators around him suddenly became nervous, and some kind-hearted casual cultivators shouted at him loudly. Brother, don't go over there. Brother, come back. That flying boat is not for us to ride. Brother, Don't go over there, be careful not to lose your life. Su Fan was made to laugh and cry by the shouts of these people. He did not turn around, but raised his hand and waved. At this time, several female cultivators came down from the flying boat, led by a Yuanying realm cultivator, who led them to pay homage to Su Fan vigorously. Junior, respectfully welcome the immortal venerable to board the boat. Su Fan nodded to them, then stepped onto the flying boat. Before entering the cabin, he turned around and waved to the casual cultivators. When the flying boat took off, the casual cultivators around were all staring. Almost everyone's mind, almost at the same time, said a sentence, that is, life should be like this. To be honest, Su Fan really didn't want to pretend to be so pretentious. If he could choose, he would let the flying boat stop a little further away. Especially in front of a group of miserable casual cultivators, it was even more unnecessary. Su Fan, under the guidance of the female cultivator of the nascent soul realm, came to the cabin of the flying boat. As soon as he walked in, he was stunned by the luxurious decoration inside. This is a medium-sized flying boat, which must be more than 100 feet long, but the entire flying boat has only one cabin. The luxury of this flying boat can be seen. Moreover, the entire flying boat is equipped with dozens of cultivators, most of whom are carefully selected beautiful female cultivators. Really, Su Fan suddenly felt a little emotional. What kind of life have I lived these years? Su Fan came to the luxurious hall of the cabin, which is nearly 1,000 square meters in size, and the height is more than 10 feet high. The decoration inside is almost blinding his eyes. Well, the condition that Qin Yu fought for him is still good. Su Fan sat cross-legged in the hall, and more than 10 beautiful female cultivators were busy around him with nimble hands and feet. Some made tea for him, some brought fresh spiritual fruits, and some inserted a piece of calming sandalwood incense on the simple and round brass incense burner next to him. The smoke was thick and the mist was lingering. The whole tea house was filled with elegant fragrance, which made people feel clear-headed. Su Fan knew what was good. This piece of calming incense would be worth a lot of money if it was placed in a shop outside. At this time, a female cultivator poured a cup of tea for him, and Su Fan took a sip from the teacup. As soon as the spiritual tea went into his mouth, it was sweet and mellow, and there was a sense of coolness that penetrated his internal organs, which was indescribable. Su Fan has been drinking it for many years, and this spiritual tea is no less delicious than the best and most exquisite spiritual teas he has collected. Chapter 988 What's wrong with taking some of your things? It's so damn corrupt. No wonder some disciples of the sects don't make progress. They indulge in these things all day long. How can they practice quietly? In fact, he knew in his heart that he was jealous. Look at others, and then look at himself. In these years, he has either been hunted or on the way to be hunted. He has lived for 2 lifetimes, and has never lived a few days like this. In fact, he thought too much. Only the masters of the refining realm and even the fusion realm of the major sects are qualified to ride this kind of flying boat. For those cultivators in the sect, even if they are lead disciples, I'm afraid they have never even seen such a luxurious flying boat, let alone riding it. The female cultivator in the nascent soul realm knelt in front of Su Fan. The girl looked like she was only in her 20s. She was wearing a white robe with red petals embroidered on the hem, which was lifelike. Her long hair was like a waterfall, her eyebrows were like willow leaves, her eyes were like autumn water, her skin was as white as snow, and her face was like morning glow. She was beautiful in every way. She had a calm and gentle face, and spoke in a soft and gentle voice. Her temperament was incompatible with Su Fan. Your Excellency, I am Li Chongxiu, the foreman of this flying boat. If you need anything, you can tell me at any time. The girl in front of him was extremely beautiful. She was so charming that she could captivate everyone. Even though Su Fan had seen countless women, he couldn't help but feel a ripple in his heart after seeing her. It was a pity that she was a girl from the immortal sect. He didn't like the clean temperament of the female cultivators from the immortal sect the most. When she was with him, he seemed evil. Of course, the girls from the immortal sect and Hedao were really nice. He must get to know a few more if he had the chance in the future. Su Fan raised his head, squinted his eyes, and glanced at the girl aggressively. Li Chongxiu was so shocked by his eyes that he lowered his head quickly. No wonder she is a big devil, evil, Li Chongxiu muttered in his heart, and a trace of cold sweat could not help but flow all over his body. I don't need anyone to serve me. You guys should do what you need to do. If you have any questions, Please come. At this point, Su Fan pressed the copper bell magic weapon next to him. Ring, ring. For a while, the crisp and pleasant bell sound echoed in the whole flying boat. Haha, I'll ring the bell if there's anything. Li Shangxiu frowned. Why is this guy like this? He has no manners at all. But then she thought, he is a cruel and brutal demon who kills without blinking an eye. How can he have any manners? Before coming here, Li Chongxiu had imagined the appearance of this demon several times in his mind. He thought he was a man with a full beard and a forehead full of blue veins. There was no way, this was the most evil image he could imagine. Who knew that when he saw the real person, he was actually ordinary, the kind that you couldn't find even if you threw him into the crowd. Su Fan didn't know that he had been repeatedly complained about by the girl opposite him in his mind several times. You all go, I won't call you, you don't have to come. After hearing his words, Li Shangxiu was stunned. Before coming, the sect master specifically told her that this big devil is difficult to serve, and he asked for this and that. In order to pick him up here, the sect specially transferred a special flying boat from a big boss in the fusion realm. Because she is gentle in nature, she was asked to come. Originally, she thought it was a hard job, but who knew that the other party actually asked not to keep anyone around to serve him. That's it. You call this difficult to serve? Report to the immortal venerable. Do you have any other requests? Please give me the order. Oh, I almost forgot. That is, 3 meals a day must be prepared for 20, no, 30 people. I am a physical cultivator with a big appetite. Su Fan suddenly remembered one thing, that is, his daily food. Even the spiritual tea and tranquility incense on this flying boat are so top-notch, the food must not be bad. This advantage cannot be missed. Li Chongxiu was stunned. Are you a pig, eating so much? But this request is really nothing to her. There are several spiritual chefs with superb cooking skills on the flying boat. There are countless ingredients for various top-quality spiritual food on the flying boat. I will just go to the back kitchen to look at some of them. Do you have any special requirements for spiritual food and spiritual wine? Su Fan waved his hand and said, it doesn't matter, as long as the quantity is enough to satisfy my hunger. Li Chongxiu nodded, then stood up from the ground and led many female cultivators to pay homage. Master Immortal, we will go down. Su Fan waved his hand at them, then picked up the teacup and took a big sip. His spirit was lifted. He felt that all 48,000 pores in his body opened up, and he felt sweet, cool and refreshing, and indescribably refreshed. Drink. I will continue to drink. He put down the teacup, looked around, and found that the shelf next to him was full of simple tea cans. The shelf on the other side was full of various incense burners and tranquilizing incense, which were probably priceless good things. Su Fan stood up from the ground, walked to the shelf, and looked at each tea can. Damn, this flying boat should be the exclusive flying boat of a top boss, no wonder it is so rich. Who cares, it's time to eat and drink. When he was about to leave, he asked Sister Zhen to sweep away all the things he liked in the cabin. Anyway, in the eyes of those guys from the sect, he was a big evil demon. He didn't believe that the top boss would bother with him for such a trivial matter. Even if he pretended to be a saint, he couldn't change the stereotype in those people's minds. Stealing a little thing was also a big deal. I didn't kill anyone or set a fire, so what's wrong with taking a little thing from you? Thinking of this, Su Fan slapped the portable secret realm on his waist. Sister Zhen, come out. With a whoosh, Sister Zhen turned into a ball of black smoke and rushed out of the portable secret realm. Master, what is this place? I like it so much. Su Fan covered his face when he heard it. Fortunately, there was no one around, otherwise he would be in big trouble. Look at your inexperienced look. Go check out those tea leaves and tranquilizing incense, and remember to take them away before you leave. Sister Zhen was so excited after hearing this that she floated to the shelves next to her and checked them one by one. Although this girl was greedy for money, she had helped him sort out the spoils for so many years, and she had developed a pair of sharp eyes. Although she didn't know the specific value of some inestimable cultivation resources, as long as she caught her eye, she would definitely not lose. Master. At this time, Sister Zhen finished checking the things on the shelves, floated to his side, and hugged his neck. Those, can we take them away? We won't be caught, will we? Catch a fart, just take them if I tell you to. Hey. Master, do you know that those spiritual teas and tranquilizing incense are the best of the best? Su Fan took a look outside, and then whispered, keep your voice down, Don't take them now, wait until before the flying boat. Sister Jen nodded excitedly like a chicken pecking at rice. I changed my name. I have been criticized for my name. Later I thought about it and decided to change it. Chapter 989, No one wants it even when it's offered to you. At noon, Li Shangxi leaned against the wall outside the kitchen and waited. Several top spiritual chefs were busy inside, cooking for the big devil alone, which was more tiring than cooking for more than a dozen people before. This also made the group of young female cultivators suffer. They had to go back and forth several times for each meal before they could deliver the meal. The flying boat had been sailing for more than a month, and the big devil rarely asked them to serve him. Occasionally, he would ask about the operation methods of other functional rooms in the cabin. At other times, the guy practiced in the hall, drank tea, or studied and pondered with a jade slip. Li Changxiu didn't expect that the notorious big devil would be so boring. It has been a month, and he has been sitting there without moving much, but his little ghost slave is floating around on the flying boat. Moreover, Su Fan's unremitting practice every day and never slackening also made Li Changxiu admire him very much. Alice. Until now, when I see that big devil, my heart is beating fast, for fear that he will pin me to the ground. I heard that the big devil not only killed many people, but also raped and killed more female cultivators. That's right, he even didn't let go of his own ghost slaves. Emma, that's a ghost, really? Then what should we do? What if one day he gets beastly and kills me? I also heard that he has become perverted towards female cultivators, and he also. Several young female cultivators gathered together and chatted happily. They may have talked about topics that are not suitable for children, so they deliberately lowered their voices. Haha. Haha. A group of female hooligans were chatting happily and suddenly laughed. Li Changxiu turned his head and looked at the young female cultivators who hugged their chests and looked pitiful. He couldn't help rolling his eyes. People like you, no one wants you even if you are sent to their door. Don't talk about you, I am beautiful enough. No matter where I went before, the elite disciples of those super sects would flock to her to chat. But it has been more than a month. Has that big devil ever looked at her straight in the eye? Before coming here, Li Changxia was really worried. After all, rumors outside had already blackened Su Fan to a terrible degree. But since she saw the real person, she found that this guy was not evil at all. It can be seen from his ghost slave that his qualifications are surprisingly poor, but he is particularly favored at first glance. They must have been together for a long time. This big devil is so good to his ghost slave, which shows that he is nostalgic and values friendship. There are not many cultivators in this world of cultivation who can do what he does. Not to mention ghost slaves, he abandons his own children. So she thinks that most of the rumors outside are unreliable. He just kills more and is more ruthless. This big devil is not so bad. When Li Changxiu thought of the disdainful look the other party gave her, the fire in her heart rose up. I don't like you. There were a few times when Li Changxiu was angry and looked at him with a teasing look, but this guy almost made her lungs explode. This big devil actually said to her, "What are you looking at? Are you blind? I am such a beautiful woman, why can I look at you with such eyes?" This is the first time in her life that she has used such eyes to a man. She blushed when she thought about it. Then Li Changxiu seemed to be angry. Every time she saw him, she would glance at him with such eyes. Emma. It's so exciting. She had no interest in Su Fan at all. She felt that the two of them were not the same. She knew that the other party should have the same idea as her. But Li Changxiu was so angry that she hated him for ignoring her and not looking at her directly. This big devil looked at his ghost slave with tenderness in his eyes. Am I not as pleasing as a ghost? Anyway, for the first time in her life in more than a month, Li Changxiu felt a strong sense of frustration. At this time, lunch was ready. A dozen young female cultivators went through several trips before delivering lunch to the hall of the cabin and setting it up. When Li Changxiu entered, Su Fan was lying on the recliner, and the little ghost slave was helping him cut his nails. Seeing her coming, Su Fan turned over and left his back to the girl. Every time at this time, Li Changxiu's anger was a little uncontrollable. This damn devil, you deserve to be single and no one wants you. Li Changxiu took a deep breath and left with full of resentment. Master, that female cultivator is so beautiful. I think she looks at you weirdly. Why don't you take her in too? Now you don't have enough mahjong tables in your room. Su Fan flicked Genji's head with his hand and laughed and scolded. What the hell, don't pay attention to her, that female cultivator is sick. Of course he knew what Li Chongxi was thinking. It was purely the thinking of a scumbag. He dared to bet that if he took the initiative to talk to her, she would not even pay attention to him. It was all because of the bad habits of those licking dogs. No matter what Luo Zhuan is like, you can say she is out of touch with reality or immature, but you can't say anything about him. This is nothing, she just wants to find a sense of existence in front of me. I really can't tolerate your bad habits. This morning, Su Fan was sitting cross-legged in the hall, practicing the dragon elephant swallowing yuan training blood mysterious art to temper his own blood. Suddenly, he felt that the flying boat was diving down, and Sister Zhen floated to the porthole. Master, we are going to land. Bang! With a dull sound, the flying boat stopped steadily on a huge airport. At this time, Li Chongxi walked in from outside. Senior, we have arrived at the Eastern Wasteland Rift Valley, which is the nearest Star Domain Alliance Starry Sky Gate. Su Fan nodded after listening, and then said, should our flying boat leave directly through the Starry Sky Gate, or get off the flying boat first? Senior, the Starry Sky Gate of the Eastern Wasteland Rift Valley will only open the Starry Sky Gate every 10 days. Su Fan understood that they should get off the flying boat. Don't worry, Senior. We have arranged a cave for you. Stay here for a few days. Su Fan followed Li Chongxi down the flying boat. The first thing that caught his eyes was an extremely large airport. This airport was obviously temporary, and the gravel on the ground had not been cleaned up yet. The huge airport was full of countless large and small flying boats, all waiting for the space gate to open in a few days to go to the distant Kaianshan Star Domain battlefield. Perhaps seeing Su Fan's concerns, Li Chongxi smiled and explained. Don't worry, Senior, our flying boat is the highest priority. And you don't have to wait in line when the time comes. After hearing what the girl said, Su Fan was relieved. With so many flying boats, how long would it take to queue up? He followed Li Chongxi to a hidden valley in the distance. The area inside was not small, but there were only a few temporary secret caves arranged. Chapter 990 Listen to others' advice and eat a full meal. Su Fan walked into this secret cave. Although it was a temporary cave, its luxury was not inferior to those caves near the fairy city. Su Fan sat down in the hall of the cave, and then glanced at Li Chongxi. Okay, you guys find a place to settle down in the cave. I don't need you to serve me here. Li Chongxi curled his lips secretly, then turned and left. She left the cave after leaving the hall. He was almost suffocated on the flying boat, and wanted to take a walk around. Now the Eastern Wilderness Rift Valley is equivalent to a town, gathering a large number of cultivators from the Star Domain Alliance. Therefore, a structure of 3 horizontal and 3 vertical main streets has been formed, with shops all over the streets, and people coming and going is very lively. She was walking on the street when she heard someone calling her from behind. Zor, it's really you. Li Chongxi turned around and saw several cultivators running towards her. She knew these people. They were all children of various families in the sect, and they were also friends she often interacted with. Why are you going to the battlefield of Kaianshan Star region? She chatted with several people for a while before she found out that these people were arranged by their families to go there, and they were all arranged with a lucrative and idle job in the logistics of the coalition. Zor, I heard that you are the foreman on a flying boat. Can we take a ride? No. Li Chongxi's refusal was definitely for their own good. What a joke. If that big devil knew, what would they do if he killed them? If their family knew that these people died at the hands of Su Fan, the elders in the family would not dare to say a word. Li Chongxi, why are you like this? That's right, we have been playing together since we were young. Isn't it just a place to take a ride? Is it necessary to be so heartless? They and Li Chongxi are all illegitimate children of the family, and they can't compare with those legitimate children in the family. It is precisely because of this that they can play together. Seeing Li Chongxi's stern refusal, they immediately refused, thinking that she was unreasonable. I don't let you come and use the flying boat, it's for your own good. Do you know who is on the flying boat? Of course, several people didn't believe it and left cursing. Li Chongxi smiled helplessly. She had been in the sect for a long time. This time, she finally had the opportunity to go down the mountain to do things. She certainly didn't want to mess things up. There was no way. A bastard had no one to help him in the family. Everything had to be done by himself. Su Fan sat in the hall of the cave for a while, and then he flashed into the Juan's secret realm. Yaksha saw him coming and hurried over to pay homage. Yaksha greets my master. Where's Wangda? Yaksha led Su Fan to a valley deep in the secret realm. On a stone platform at the end of the valley, the oil lamp magic weapon was placed. Su Fan walked over and sat cross-legged next to the oil lamp magic weapon. "Boy, you are here." After the evil Buddha Wangda finished speaking, he took out a few blue sheets from his arms and handed them to Su Fan. "I have made what you want." Su Fan took the blue lenses from the evil Buddha Wangda and nodded with satisfaction. He had always wanted to transform into the appearance of a celestial cultivator. But his figure and appearance were easy to deal with, but the blue eyes and long golden hair of the celestial cultivators were the only things he couldn't imitate. The golden hair was easy to deal with and he quickly copied it, but the blue eyes were impossible to imitate. So Su Fan found the evil Buddha Wangda and asked the old man to help him think of a solution. Su Fan looked at the blue chips in his hand, then picked up 2 of them and put them in his eyes like he was wearing contact lenses in his previous life. He waved his hand and performed the water mirror technique, and a huge mirror appeared opposite him. Su Fan walked to the mirror and looked at it for a while, then smiled with satisfaction. "Not bad, it can definitely be mistaken for the real thing." "Nonsense, you know that in order to make these chips, I dug out the eyeballs of dozens of celestial cultivators, and finally made a few of them." "What the hell?" After hearing what the evil Buddha Wangda said, Su Fan felt uncomfortable. "Why the hell are you telling me all this?" Su Fan took off the 2 blue chips in his eyes and put them away, then removed the water mirror opposite and sat down cross-legged. "Boy, there's a vertical eye on the forehead of the celestial clan cultivators. Do you want me to help you make one?" "I won't bother you with this," Su Fan said with a chuckle. Then his eyes focused, and a vertical eye suddenly appeared on his forehead. Evil Buddha Wangda was immediately confused, and he pointed at the vertical eye on his forehead. "How did you give birth to such a thing?" Su Fan smiled, then put the vertical eye on his forehead back. "I swallowed the blood of a great demon before, and since then I have had an extra vertical eye on my forehead." Evil Buddha Wangda laughed and said, "This time it's almost done. When you go to the celestial clan, you should be able to pass for the real thing." The old man knew that the realm of the great demon that Su Fan swallowed was probably not low, otherwise how could he inherit such a weird vertical eye? It is not difficult to guess that the vertical eye on this kid's forehead must have been inherited along with the magical power. The evil Buddha Wangda couldn't help but lament why this kid's opportunity was so extraordinary. Could it be because he was carrying a demon seed? Thinking of this, he took out another jade bottle and handed it to Su Fan. Su Fan took it and opened it, and found that it was filled with golden blood. The strong bloody smell that hit him made him frown. "What is this?" "The blood of the celestial race. This is a little bit of blood essence that I extracted from dozens of celestial race cultivators. When you change your celestial race appearance, drink some." "What the hell? Actually, let me drink blood. This is too disgusting." "Boy, don't underestimate this little bit of blood essence. It can make you have the breath of the celestial race from inside to outside." "Thank you, senior. Just drink it." The celestial race cultivators and the human race are only similar in appearance, but in fact the difference between the 2 races is still very large. The evil Buddha Wangda must have his reasons for doing this. Listen to others' advice and eat a full meal. Being a little disgusting is nothing. If the top leaders of the celestial race find out what he is doing, he will be in trouble. The blood and essence are still not enough. There are not many living celestial race monks here. When you get to their territory, get some alive. Su Fan nodded. "This is easy. There will be plenty of opportunities when he sneaks into the rear of the celestial race." Su Fan stayed comfortably in the temporary cave in the eastern wasteland Rift Valley for a few days. That morning, Li Shangxiu came early and knelt opposite Su Fan. "Your Excellency, the Starry Sky Gate will be opened at noon today. We will board the boat after breakfast. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 991. I'm not a crow's mouth, am I? Su Fan followed Li Changxiu out of the temporary cave in the valley and came to the airport outside. Because today is the day when the Starry Sky Gate is opened, the square is already crowded with people, and countless monks gathered around the flying boat they were riding. Su Fan and Li Changxiu took a lot of effort to squeeze under their flying boat. Before boarding the boat, he turned his head and looked at the grand view of this temporary airport, and couldn't help but sigh. The entire airport was densely packed with large and small flying boats, and countless monks were running around in the airport. The endless noise that came to his face made people feel extremely excited. This is the Starfield War. Just one of the space gates has gathered so many monks. When the attack was launched, it is estimated that when the flying boats sailed out of the Starry Sky Gate, they could be discharged hundreds of miles away. He turned his head and saw a halo more than 1,000 feet high standing there more than 10 miles away. That was the Starry Sky Gate that had just been opened, and it was also one of the hundreds of passages connecting the Kyanshan Starfield battlefield. Immortal, it's time for us to board the boat. After hearing Li Chongxiu's urging, Su Fan stepped onto the flying boat. Immortal, I'm going to the cockpit in front, go ahead. Su Fan nodded, then came to the luxurious hall alone and sat cross-legged. At this time, the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist vibrated slightly. Su Fan took off the jade talisman from his waist and took a look at the message Qin Yu sent him. Daoao, you are going to enter the Starry Sky Gate, right? Once you get there, our Ruai Pavilion intelligence capabilities will not be that strong, but there are also several offline lines deployed in Kyanshan Star region. If you really encounter any problems, you can contact them directly. Next, Qin Yu sent him all the information about his offline in Kyanshan Star region. Su Fan took a look at the information of several offline and memorized it firmly in his mind. When he arrived in Kyanshan Star region, everything depended on the people of the Star Region Alliance. To be honest, he didn't trust these guys. If the crisis comes, they can't be relied on. They may even sell him or abandon him. Anyway, you have to rely on yourself for everything. Don't put your hope on others. Buzz, with a dull buzz, the flying boat slowly took off. Su Fan stood up from the ground and walked to the porthole to look at the airport below. Li Chongxia was right. Their flying boat was indeed the first to take off. The first dozens of flying boats that took off roared towards the Starry Sky Gate, standing between heaven and earth in the distance. It is said that the flying boat will fly continuously for about an hour in the tunnel of the Starry Sky Gate. When they were about to fly out of the Starry Sky Gate, Li Chongxiu came in from outside. She knelt opposite and said respectfully, Your Excellency, in less than a moment, the flying boat will arrive at Luangshan in Kyanshan Star region. After Li Chongxiu finished speaking, she saw that the tea in Su Fan's teacup had cooled down, so she started to boil water and brew a pot of spiritual tea for him. Su Fan took a sip of the teacup and said, Are you safe in the Starry Gate of Kyanshan Star Domain? The reason why he asked this was because he had destroyed the Starry Gate of the Ghost Clan, and a large number of flying boats inside were thrown into the unknown starry space. The Starry Gate is definitely the most important strategic material in the Starry battlefield. Therefore, the hostile parties in the Starry War will send elite teams to destroy the enemy's space gate. No way. Anyway, until today, our Starry Alliance has not had such a thing. After hearing what the girl said, Su Fan was relieved. Every time he passed through the Starry Gate, he could remember the scene of that year. Especially the only half of the Ghost Clan flying boat that rushed out of the Starry Gate left a very deep impression on him. So every time he passed through the Starry Gate, Su Fan was unsure in his heart. After all, in the tunnel of the Starry Gate, once an accident occurs, even if you are a big boss in the fusion realm, you are still powerless. At this time, Su Fan's scalp exploded, and the feeling of the impending crisis appeared. Having been wandering between life and death for many years, his intuition is often very accurate, and he is particularly sensitive to the impending crisis. Damn. I am not a jinx, am I? Whatever I say, it will come true. Buzz. Buzz. Suddenly, the flying boat began to tremble violently, and various objects in the hall fell down with a crackling sound. Xianzhen, what happened? What should we do? Li Chongxiu's face was pale with fear. She had been staying at the mountain gate for many years and had never experienced such a dangerous situation. She began to nag and make Su Fan upset. Shut up, Su Fan scolded her loudly, and then stood up from the ground. If my guess is correct, the Starry Sky Gate of your Star Domain Alliance should have been attacked by the celestial race. Then what should we do? What else can we do? Just leave it to fate. At this time, their flying boat was still in the space tunnel of the Starry Sky Gate, and even the big boss of the fusion realm could not do anything. Swoosh! At this time, a cloud of black smoke rushed out from the portable secret realm on Su Fan's waist. Master! Master! What's wrong? Su Fan took a deep breath and said, Go back to the secret realm first, hurry up. Sister Zhen didn't listen to him, but whoosh and floated to the shelves next to her. With a wave of her hand, she swept away all the top-quality spiritual teas and tranquilizing incense on them. Not only that, Sister Zhen also searched the huge hall wantonly. Like exquisite tea sets, simple lamps, ancient books on the bookshelves, calligraphy and paintings on the walls, and other things that she liked, Sister Zhen didn't let go of anything. Even the screen behind Su Fan, as well as several cushions and a pile of futons next to him were put into her ring. Li Chongxiu, who was kneeling there, was dumbfounded. This ghost slave of the big devil was too greedy for money. The problem is that at this time, their future is still uncertain. Even your life is gone, why do you get so many things? Su Fan also covered his face. Sister Zhen, can you please pay attention? There is a person sitting here. You don't take him seriously. He glanced at Li Chongxiu opposite him and explained with a wry smile. I am a ghost slave. I was poor when I was a child. Li Chongxiu didn't even believe the punctuation of his words. How poor could such a money-loving person be? But at this time, she was in no mood to care about these. If it is true as the big devil said, the starry sky gate of the Star Domain Alliance was destroyed, then the countless flying boats in the space tunnel will not be good. Boom. At this time, Su Fan felt that the flying boat was like a cannonball ejected from the muzzle, whistling out of the starry sky gate. Chapter 992 The Celestials are so cruel. Master. We rushed out of the starry sky gate. Sister Zhen cheered loudly, but her hands were not idle. She kept collecting all kinds of objects in the huge hall into her ring. Su Fan also breathed a sigh of relief and finally rushed out of the space tunnel. At this time, even if he encountered a big crisis, he could take the initiative to control his own destiny. Boom boom, suddenly, there was a loud earth-shaking sound in the distance, followed by a mighty force that could destroy the world. The huge flying boat was like a small sampan that strayed into a superstorm, and it rolled over immediately. Su Fan and Li Chongxiu were also in the huge hall, rolling and colliding everywhere. Fuck. Su Fan couldn't help but burst out a swear word. Looking at this posture, it was obviously a fight between two masters of the fusion realm. He waved his hand and sucked Sister Zhen's ghost body over, and threw it into the portable secret realm. He glanced at Li Chongxiu who had fallen in a corner of the hall, and then sucked her in, also throwing her into the portable secret realm. Boom. At this time, the flying boat had already fallen from the sky, and fell heavily on the ground, and the whole body was instantly broken into pieces. Su Fan was also thrown out of the disintegrating flying boat, fell to the ground and rolled more than 10 times, and then hit a boulder and stopped. Puff. Su Fan suddenly spit out a mouthful of blood, and then suppressed the bloody air that had accumulated in his chest. He got up from the ground with a grin, and saw that the flying boats kept flying out of the starry sky gate in the distance. But these flying boats were thrown into the air by the mighty power of the superstorm as soon as they flew out, and then fell heavily to the ground and broke into pieces. These flying boats that rushed out of the starry sky gate were lucky, because the starry sky gate standing there was also swallowed by the superstorm that was destroying the world. Now, the starry sky gate that once stood between heaven and earth no longer exists. Moreover, the castle that guarded the starry sky gate is now in ruins, as if the end of the world has come. It is as if it has been flattened, and the monks guarding here are probably dead. At this moment, the high-level bosses of both sides have risen to the sky and are fighting in full swing. From time to time, bursts of terrifying loud noises can be heard. These fusion-level bosses are all angry, and all kinds of big moves from both sides are not stingy to hit each other. The scene is simply earth-shaking. The sky is almost leaking out of them. It's a pity that the countless flying boats that are still in the space tunnel are estimated to have few people who can survive. The loss of the Star Domain Alliance this time is too great. I don't know if other starry sky gates have been attacked. Has the Star Domain Alliance reached such a dangerous situation? It was actually killed by the Celestial Clan monks in the rear, and even the Starry Sky Gate was destroyed. You should know that the Starry Sky Gate is the most important strategic target. It is usually guarded very strictly, and there will be a large number of Fusion Realm Masters guarding it. It should be that the Fusion Realm Masters of the Celestial race came out in full force and launched a surprise attack on the rear of the Star Domain Alliance. The Star Domain Alliance never thought that the Celestial race would be so cruel. Their Fusion Realm Masters actually came out in full force and directly killed into their rear and wreaked havoc. By the time the Fusion Realm Old Monsters of the Star Domain Alliance reacted, it was too late. Before coming here, Su Fan also read a lot of battle reports from the Kyanshan star domain. Because the celestial race had a small number of cultivators, they always took a defensive position and were always suppressed by the Star Domain Alliance. No one expected that the counterattack of the celestial race would be so fierce. At this time, people came out of the shattered flying boats one after another, looking at everything in front of them with shock on their faces. Since the beginning of the Star Domain War, the Star Domain Alliance has been reporting victories frequently. This is the first time that it has suffered such a big loss. Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. Maybe from now on, the offense and defense of both sides will change. Of course, the life and death of the Star Domain Alliance has nothing to do with him. Moreover, the change of the offense and defense of the Celestials is not a bad thing for Su Fan. On the contrary, it will make it easier for him to sneak into the rear of the Celestials. Su Fan waved his hand and released Li Chongxiu from the secret realm. The girl was also shocked when she came out. She suddenly remembered something and ran towards the flying boat they were riding like crazy. Su Fan followed and saw more than a dozen people supporting each other and walking out of the crack of the flying boat. Li Chongxiu ignored them and went directly into the flying boat through the crack. Su Fan sighed. There were still dozens of people on this flying boat. The others were probably in danger. He also entered the flying boat. At this moment, the extremely luxurious flying boat had been completely changed. Su Fan had only taken a few steps in the collapsed and broken flying boat when he saw two young female cultivators hugging each other and being smashed under the floor. They died miserably. He came to the luxurious and huge hall. The originally magnificent decorations had now turned into ruins. Swoosh! At this time, Sister Jin rushed out of the portable secret realm and began to plunder the ruins. She was also worldly wise and knew that all the valuable things in this flying boat were in this hall. The things here might be the treasures of the owner of the flying boat, that is, the big boss in the fusion realm for many years. Any of them was not simple. At this time, Su Fan turned his head suddenly and looked out of the porthole. He felt a strong breath spreading towards him. Su Fan sucked Sister Zhen's ghost body over and threw it into the portable secret realm. He ran out of the hall a few steps and saw Li Chongxiu holding the body of a young female cultivator and stumbling out. Su Fan threw him into the portable secret realm, and then disappeared from the spot. As soon as his figure disappeared, a dazzling golden beam of light swept across the broken flying boat. Boom boom, the already broken flying boat was instantly turned into powder. Not only this flying boat, but also the other flying boats that fell from the sky were attacked. Fortunately, Su Fan reacted quickly, otherwise he would be dead. At this moment, Su Fan's people were already dozens of miles away. He turned his head and looked in the direction of the destroyed Starry Sky Gate. He sighed. Just now, he only had time to save Li Chongxiu, and there was really no chance to save others. The big man who attacked the flying boat should have been entangled by the big man of the fusion realm of the Star Domain Alliance and did not chase him. Su Fan took a deep breath, his eyes condensed, and his figure disappeared from the spot again. It's better to run away quickly. There are a group of big men in the fusion realm fighting over there. When the gods fight, the little ghosts suffer. If he doesn't run away, he might lose everything. Chapter 993 I'm so unlucky. Su Fan used several escape techniques in succession and escaped more than 10,000 miles away. He stood on the top of a mountain, overlooking the surrounding scenery, and found that it was full of continuous mountains. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he completely released his spiritual sense, and all the slightest movement within a radius of thousands of miles was in his sight. But the surroundings were dead silent, and there was no trace of the breath of cultivators. Su Fan frowned immediately. According to the theory, the Starry Sky Gate here in Luangshan should be the rear base of the Star Domain Alliance. It is possible that the Celestial Clan has stolen the home, but it can't fall. Thinking of this, Su Fan took off the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion from his waist, and then sent a message to Qin Yu. Qin Yu, can you help me check the recent battle situation in Kyanshan Star Domain? Devours, I will help you check it now. After a while, Qin Yu sent a message. Devours, the battle report just released by the Star Domain Alliance did not find any valuable information. Su Fan smiled bitterly. How could the Star Domain Alliance not know about such a big thing happening in Luangshan? It seems that the loss this time is too great. In order to prevent panic in the rear, the Star Domain Alliance concealed this matter. I just arrived in Luangshan. The forward base and the Starry Sky Gate tier were destroyed by the celestial race. I understand. I will contact the offline in Kyanshan Star Domain to find out the news immediately. The Starry Sky Gate in the space in Luangshan should be the forward base of the Star Domain Alliance to enter Kyanshan Star Domain at first. In order not to be discovered by the celestial race, the place chosen must be a very remote place. Now that the base is destroyed, he wants to go to other bases of the Star Domain Alliance, but he does not have a map of Kyanshan Star Domain. Su Fan thought about it. Li Chongxiu must have a map of this place. Thinking of this, he found a cave nearby, took out a piece of animal skin of the ruins beast, and then entered the portable secret realm. As soon as Su Fan entered the portable secret realm, he saw Sister Zhen and Li Chongxiu sitting cross-legged by the pond next to the thatched cottage, drinking tea. The two were chatting and laughing happily. It must be said that Sister Zhen is also a social expert. She can chat with anyone. Seeing Su Fan coming, Sister Zhen quickly stood up and floated over. "Master, you are back." Su Fan nodded, then walked to the pond and glanced at Li Chongxiu who was sitting cross-legged there. "Do you have a map of the Kyanshan Star Region War Zone?" Li Chongxiu shook his head and said, "I don't have a map of the war zone. The task assigned to me by the sect is to send you to the base of Luangshan." "What the hell?" Su Fan didn't say anything after hearing this. He sighed secretly. Now he could only wait for the news from Qin Yu of Ruai Pavilion. "Master, sit down and have a cup of tea." Su Fan shook his head. He didn't have the heart to drink tea now. "You guys drink, I'll go out and check the situation." Su Fan came out of the secret realm, then drove the ghost crow, turned on the stealth mode and flew forward. He flew for nearly a day, and suddenly found something in front of him. 100 miles ahead, there was a crashed flying boat wreckage. Su Fan found a place to land, then used the atomization body. Turned into a thin mist and floated forward along the mountain forest. He floated to the vicinity of the flying boat wreckage. He summoned Yaksha, and released hundreds of ghost soldiers and ghost generals to guard around. Su Fan released the atomization body and carefully touched the front of the flying boat wreckage. This flying boat was dozens of feet long, and it was obvious that it had just crashed not long ago. There were several broken pieces of the boat body scattered on the ground, and there were also several corpses of human monks. Su Fan walked to the side of the monk's corpse, stretched out his hand and sucked the ring on the other's finger into his hand. His eyes focused, and he used his spiritual sense to scan the contents of the ring. Su Fan took out several microarray discs from the ring, and then input spiritual energy into them one by one to activate them. As a result, a light curtain map was activated on the last microarray disk. He looked at the light curtain map and found that the distance from his current location to the nearest base would take a month, even if he took a flying boat. What the hell? Su Fan put away the microarray disk, and then checked the rings of several other human cultivators. As a result, he found a jade talisman in the ring of the cultivator with the highest cultivation. Su Fan collected a drop of the other party's blood and dripped it on the jade talisman, activating a light curtain, on which messages appeared one after another. "Everyone, pay attention. Lushan base has also fallen. Don't go there. We suspect that dozens of assembly points around it should also be captured by the Celestials. Just received news that Luangshan Starry Sky Gate was destroyed. More than 2,000 flying boats from the Moran Star region were killed. Does anyone know the situation of the defense lines of other star regions? Have they sent people to support us?" I just asked Master. "The defense lines of other star regions are calm. The Celestials are crazy. They have concentrated all their forces and only attack our defense lines of the Moran Star region. Other star regions have been mobilized. There is no support from other star regions for the time being." After looking at the messages and information on the light screen for a while, Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. "Damn, I'm so unlucky." From the message on that message platform, we know that the defense zone of the Moran Star region has been broken through by the Celestials. The Celestials boldly concentrated all their forces to attack the defense lines of the Moran Star region. And until now, support from other star regions has not come. At present, each star region is cleaning up its own mess. The Celestials have understood the situation of the Star Region Alliance. If the situation continues like this, the Star Region Alliance will be defeated by the Celestials sooner or later. The life and death of the Star Region Alliance has nothing to do with Su Fan. But he doesn't want the defense line of the Molan Star region to collapse. Once the Molan Star region collapses, he will also fall into an extremely dangerous situation. According to the message on the information platform, Su Fan checked the light curtain map for a while and found that nearly 30% of the control area of the Molan Star region had fallen. And where he is currently is within the scope of this fallen area. Now the most urgent task is to rush to the control area of the Molan Star region as soon as possible, but according to the map, it takes several months to fly from where he is now to the nearest control area. And all the way across the fallen area, there is a possibility of encountering the Celestials at any time. Su Fan is not afraid, but once he takes action, it is likely to expose his identity, and his plan to sneak into the rear of the Celestials will be in jeopardy. Chapter 994, I just dozed off and someone brought me a pillow. Just when Su Fan was at a loss, the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist vibrated slightly. He took off the jade talisman from his waist and took a look at the message sent by Kinyu. Devours, I just got the information that the war zone of the Star Alliance Molan Star region has been broken through by the celestial race, and suffered heavy losses. Besides this, is there any other information? The various star regions of the Star Alliance have begun to mobilize, and they will launch a counterattack soon. You find a place to hide, and it won't take long for them to regain the lost territory. Of course I know, but I can't wait forever. Moreover, at this time, the rear of the celestial race must be empty, which is the best time to sneak in. Anyway, Molan Star region has no time to take care of him. Instead of waiting here, it is better to take the initiative. Thinking of this, Su Fan made a decision in his heart. That is, he will not go to the control area of Molan Star region for the time being, try to mix into the celestial race team in the occupied area, and then find a way to enter the rear of the celestial race. Although the Molan Star region was caught off guard, the Celestials in the occupied areas are probably in great chaos. Su Fan hopes to take advantage of the chaos to change into the identity of a Celestial and find a way to get into the Celestial team. Of course, this will increase the danger exponentially. No matter what, just do it. Thinking of this, Su Fan entered the portable secret realm again. He will have a good sleep tonight and start trying to contact the Celestials in the occupied areas tomorrow. He entered the portable secret realm and saw Sister Zhen and Li Chongxiu still chatting. This silly girl, I don't know how much of her own things she has told others at this time. Su Fan was too lazy to care about her. The girl stayed in the secret realm every day, and it was rare for someone to chat with her. Make a few hard dishes for dinner, I want to drink something tonight, Sister Zhen laughed and said, then I'll go prepare it. Zor, you wait too, I'll make a few good dishes for you to taste. Li Chongxiu glanced at Su Fan and quickly stood up. I'll go for you. Sister Zhen took her hand and left after hearing this. Su Fan glanced at the backs of the two, then sat cross-legged by the pond and brewed a pot of tea for himself. He picked up the teacup and took a sip of the spiritual tea, which felt tasteless. Su Fan stood up from the ground, left the portable secret realm, and entered the Juan secret realm again. He came to the valley where the evil Buddha Wangda was, and sat cross-legged on the stone platform. Boy, what's wrong with you? You look so uneasy. Su Fan told him the situation in the Molan Star region war zone. The evil Buddha Wangda laughed after hearing this. You are worried that you will be transformed into a celestial cultivator and be discovered by the other party's high-level cultivators, right? Seeing Su Fan nod, the evil Buddha Wangda laughed. I suddenly remembered a blood-melting secret technique, which should help you hide from the detection of the high-level cultivators of the celestial race. I knew it. Anyway, I didn't take the initiative to find you, you wouldn't tell me. As the saying goes, an old man in the family is like a treasure. The evil Buddha Wangda was once an evil old demon in the fusion realm. And the era he lived in was very long ago. From the several secret techniques and skills he taught him, it can be seen that at least he has never seen them in those super demon sects. However, this old man never takes the initiative to teach him anything. Su Fan must take the initiative to ask him, and it is like squeezing toothpaste. He squeezes out a little bit every time you ask for it. This hemolysis secret technique is called Zhuan Yin hemolysis method, which is also a secret method used by evil monks in the past to avoid the interrogation of high-level monks. As long as you get the essence and blood of a monk, you can use this secret technique to make the other party's blood and merge into your blood. Although the secret method is very simple, it can make you look real under the investigation of high-level monks. Although the old man is sometimes annoying, the secret techniques and skills he taught him are really useful. So Su Fan is very confident in the effect of Zhuan Yin hemolysis method. Su Fan returned to the portable secret realm excitedly, and saw that Sister Zhen and Li Chongxiu had already prepared the meal and set a large table full of food. Su Fan was in a good mood because he had just obtained a secret technique. He sat at the dining table and asked, "Sister Zhen, get a jar of spiritual wine. I have to drink some today." Sister Zhen took out a jar of spiritual wine from her ring, then broke the mud seal and poured him a bowl. "Master, this is what I found on the flying boat. Have a taste." Sister Zhen had stolen a lot of things during the class on the flying boat. They were all the treasures of the owner of the flying boat, that is, a certain fusion realm master for many years. "Senior, how is the situation outside?" Hearing Li Chongxiu's words, Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. The celestial race has concentrated its strength and broken through the defense line of the Molan Star region. At present, more than 30% of the control area of your star region has been occupied. We are now in the occupied area. Li Chongxiu was stunned when he heard it. He never thought that the situation on the battlefield would be so dangerous. "Senior, what should we do next? Should we go to the controlled area of Molan Star region?" "That won't work. Now the bases in the occupied area of Molan Star region have been destroyed. We can't take the teleportation array. It will take several months to fly the Ghost Crow. Don't worry about it. Just stay in the secret realm and wait." At this time, Li Chongxiu had no idea and could only listen to Su Fan's arrangements. The dinner was well cooked. Su Fan drank a whole jar of spirit wine and slept soundly at night. The next day, after breakfast, Su Fan drove the Ghost Crow to the nearest base in the occupied area. In fact, it was not that close. The Ghost Crow would take more than a month to fly. The journey was long and boring. Su Fan hadn't flown for such a long time. After flying for more than half a month, he sensed a trace of breath. There were several flying boats more than 100 miles ahead, rushing towards him. And it seemed that they were several flying boats of the celestial race, chasing a flying boat of the human race frantically. Then, dazzling golden rays of light continuously shot out from the flying boats behind and swept towards the flying boat of the human race in front. Su Fan patted the Ghost Crow under him, letting him turn on the invisible state, and looked up to fly higher in the sky. It was true that just when he dozed off, someone brought him a pillow. Su Fan was just worried that he would not have the chance to meet the cultivators of the celestial race, and now he has come. He stood on the broad back of the Ghost Crow with his hands behind his back, leaning down to fly over rapidly with the flying boats below. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and he found that the most powerful aura among these flying boats was only that of the cultivators of the nascent soul realm. He was immediately relieved, took out a small tower about an inch in size from the ring, and threw it down. The small tower gradually grew bigger in the wind, and then roared down from the sky, instantly locking several flying boats in. Chapter 995 Zuan Hemolysis Method. Su Fan put his hands behind his back and looked at the several flying boats that fell to the ground. Just now, he used a 7th level sealing pagoda to seal the several flying boats of the celestial race behind him, and then used the secret method of the soul to make the people in the flying boat lose their minds. At this time, the flying boat that fled in front also circled and turned around to fly back, and then landed in the distance. Dozens of human cultivators came out of the flying boats and stood in the distance, not daring to come over. "Li Chongxiu, come out." Hearing Su Fan's call, Li Chongxiu came out of the secret realm with him and looked at the scene in front of him in a daze. Su Fan raised his hand and pointed at the flying boat that landed in the distance. "Go over and have a look, negotiate with them." Li Chongxiu understood as soon as she heard it. This big devil disdained to communicate with those human cultivators, so he gave her the task of communicating with them. She nodded, and then walked towards the flying boat. Su Fan came to several celestial race flying boats that fell to the ground, and then summoned Yaksha. Yaksha summoned a group of ghost soldiers and generals to get out the unconscious celestial clan monks from the flying boats. They got out hundreds of celestial clan monks from several flying boats. Some of them died, and the rest were in a coma. Su Fan waved his hand to call Yaksha over, and then gave him instructions. "Send these celestial clan monks to the evil Buddha Wangda, tell him I want confessions, and then help me choose a suitable person." Yaksha waved his hand and rolled up a black ghost smoke, and then dragged hundreds of unconscious celestial clan monks into the Juan secret realm. At this time, Li Chongxiu came over from a distance. "Report to the immortal venerable, these people are from our Molan Star region. After breaking through the siege, They were chased here by several Celestial Clan flying boats. Although the Celestial Clan broke through the defense line of the Molin Star region, there were still human cultivators who broke through the siege. What do they mean? Where are they going to go in the future? Immortal, they must be following the senior's lead now. Su Fan looked at the group of people in the distance with disdain. To be honest, he really didn't want to carry so many burdens. But as a human race, he couldn't just leave them here. You are responsible for organizing these people. You asked Sister Zhen to find a place in the secret realm to settle them down. Li Chongxiu nodded, then turned and left. When Li Chongxiu and others entered the portable secret realm, Su Fan also flashed into the Juan secret realm. He came to the valley where the evil Buddha Wangda was, sat cross-legged on the stone platform, and looked at the oil lamp magic weapon placed next to him. At this time, the old Deng was not on the lamp holder. He might be concocting those Shinran monks. Falling into the hands of this old thing, the Shinran monks can only blame themselves for their bad luck. That is an old pervert. At this time, Yaksha also came to the stone platform and stood quietly behind Su Fan. Don't stand here, go in and see that old bastard. Master, I'd better not go. Wang Lao, even Yasha, a ghost king, couldn't stand that kind of scene, which shows how perverted the evil Buddha Wangda's methods are. Then go and do your work. You don't have to waste time with me here. After Yasha left, Su Fan sat on the stone platform and waited patiently for the evil Buddha Wangda. Boy, you can't wait. It took more than an hour before the evil Buddha Wangda appeared on the lamp holder. Not so anxious, the evil Buddha Wangda's methods were indeed extraordinary. After only a few rounds of interrogation, these Shinran cultivators told all the information they knew. Unfortunately, these people were all low-level cultivators of the Shinran tribe, and they didn't know much information, but they were very familiar with the deployment of the surrounding Shinran tribe. These people were cultivators from a nearby Shinran tribe base, and they were responsible for patrolling the situation around the base today. They happened to find a human flying boat that had broken through the siege, so they chased it all the way. Boy, I have selected a few of these people for you. Their information is here. You can choose one from them. Su Fan took the animal skin handed over by the evil Buddha Wangda, which recorded the information of several Shinran cultivators. The candidates provided by the evil Buddha Wangda all have one common feature, that is, they are very ordinary. After some consideration, Su Fan chose one person from them. This Shinran cultivator was named Yuzhong. He was also a descendant of a certain family, but a concubine's son. Because his mother died early, he became a rootless grass from then on. He left the family to fight at a very young age. He was recruited to the front line shortly after the Star Domain War. Hearing Su Fan report the name of Yuzhong, the evil Buddha Wangda threw a comatose Shinran cultivator onto the stone platform. This person is Yuzhong. Try to change into his appearance. Su Fan circled around Yuzhong twice, and then began to use secret methods to change his body shape, appearance and breath. He put on the golden hood again, stuffed a blue chip into his eyes, and a vertical eye appeared on his forehead. Well, at least there is no problem with the appearance. The evil Buddha Wangda threw another jade bottle to Su Fan, saying, this is the essence and blood I extracted from his body. You try to use the Zhuan Yin hemolysis method. Su Fan took the jade bottle, then opened the stopper and performed the Zhuan Yin hemolysis method. This time it's almost done, even if I can't find any flaws. After hearing the words of the evil Buddha Wangda, Su Fan was relieved. If this old bitch can't find any flaws, it should be able to deceive the high-level bosses of the Shinran clan. I will extract some more of his essence and blood for you later, which should be enough for you for the time being. Su Fan left the Juan secret realm and returned to the Suishan secret realm. He came to the pond and sat cross-legged. Sister Zhen saw him coming back and floated over from a distance. Master, I arranged those people in a nearby yard, and sent them spiritual rice and other supplies. Well, tell them not to run around. I know, I've already told them, and Zimmer has also repeatedly told them, they don't dare to make trouble. At this time, Li Chongxiu came over from a distance, and when she saw Su Fan, she hurriedly bowed. Junior pays homage to the immortal venerable. Su Fan waved his hand at her and said, okay, you let those people behave themselves. If something goes wrong, I will only ask you. Li Chongxiu curled her lips secretly. They have to dare to. When she just negotiated with those people, there were still a few nonsense. But since she reported Su Fan's name, these people became like quails, and no one dared to talk anymore. Chapter 996. Anyway, Let's do it. The next morning, Su Fan changed into Yu Zhong's appearance and flew all the way to the distant Celestial Clan base. He flew for only 2 days before he encountered several patrol flying boats of the Celestial Clan. Su Fan pretended to be very embarrassed, stopped the Celestial Clan's flying boats, and reported to them the ambush by the human race. The Yuanying realm cultivator who led the Celestial Clan did not doubt Su Fan's identity and asked him to lead several flying boats to the battlefield. After seeing the wreckage of several flying boats that fell on the ground and searching the surroundings to no avail, Su Fan followed them back to the base. Because Yu Zhong's team was wiped out, Su Fan was assigned to another team. Although the Celestial Clan's counterattack was extremely successful, it was too fast, and the base was in a mess inside and outside. Because the Celestial Clan's top leaders were paying close attention to the human race's counterattack, no one paid attention to Yu Zhong, a giant and cultivator. Su Fan was assigned to a new team. Because he was not familiar with his teammates and he didn't talk much, the team members were not close to him. Of course, this was exactly what Su Fan wanted. Now he follows the team around every day, doing tasks such as building defense lines, transporting supplies and patrolling. The days passed quickly, and a few months passed in the blink of an eye. Su Fan was not in a hurry. He worked very hard in the team of the Celestials every day and waited patiently for the opportunity. Early this morning, Su Fan was eating in the cafeteria of the base. Boom boom boom, suddenly, there was a loud sound that shook the world in the distance, followed by an unimaginable mighty force roaring over. He knew in his heart that it was the human race's fusion realm boss who came to kill him. Since the Celestials gathered a large number of fusion realm bosses to raid the defense line of the Molan Star region, the fusion realm bosses of the Molan Star region also began to lose their martial ethics. Once the fusion realm bosses show their power, the consequences will be very serious. The roof of the cafeteria where Su Fan was instantly blown away. Many Celestial Clan monks who were eating in the cafeteria were also swept into this fierce superstorm. The people around Su Fan were swept away one by one, and he jumped and followed many Celestial Clan monks into the storm. Bang! Bang! Su Fan and many Celestial Clan monks fell to the ground one after another. There were not many alive at this time, and most of them had been crushed to pieces. He looked at the situation around him and collapsed directly to the ground. He also absorbed a lot of blood from the corpse of the Celestial Clan monk next to him and smeared it on his body and face. Boom! Boom! At this time, the human race's fusion realm boss had already started a battle with the fusion realm boss of the Celestial Clan in the sky. This was a hard time for the low-level Celestial Clan monks in the base, even though the battlefield of the fusion realm bosses of both sides had risen to the sky. But the aftermath of the battle alone had already shattered the spirits of many Celestial Clan monks. Only after the battle between the two fusion masters was far away did the Celestial Clan cultivators, who came to support from other places, dare to enter the base. Su Fan pretended to be seriously injured and collapsed on the ground without moving. With a burst of dense footsteps, a large number of Celestial Clan cultivators poured into the base. "There is still a living person here." Hearing someone shouting, the Celestial Clan cultivators around ran over and carried Su Fan to a flying boat outside the base. In the sudden attack by the human fusion master just now, not many Celestial Clan cultivators in the base survived, and even if they survived by chance, they were all seriously injured. Bang! With a dull sound, the flying boat began to slowly rise into the air. Next, Su Fan and other Celestial Clan cultivators who survived by chance in the base were all sent to another base. This time, the counterattack launched by the Molan Star region destroyed many Celestial Clan bases, and the tribe members suffered heavy casualties. After recuperating in the base for a few days, Su Fan came to a huge base through the teleportation array, and then took a flying boat and returned to the rear of the Celestial tribe through the starry sky gate with many wounded Celestials. In the past few months, he has been thinking hard and dreaming of finding an opportunity to sneak into the rear of the Celestial tribe. Unexpectedly, the surprise attack by the human leader created a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and he was able to enter the rear of the Celestial tribe so easily. The Celestial tribe is sparsely populated, so they take very good care of the wounded. Su Fan and thousands of wounded Celestials were placed in Shinrongshan. Shinrongshan is one of the several superplanes of the Celestial tribe in the Kyanshan Star region, and it is definitely the real rear of the Celestial tribe. Su Fan has been pretending to be sick. He used secret methods to make his soul unstable, So he was diagnosed by the high-level cultivators of the celestial tribe as having injured his consciousness and needed long-term recuperation. It is often very troublesome for cultivators to have damaged consciousness, and they can only slowly recuperate and recover. So Su Fan was placed in a beautiful territory, and there was a group of young female cultivators in the tribe to take care of him every day. He rested here for more than a month, and got acquainted with some local Shinran cultivators, and obtained a lot of valuable information from them. According to the information he got during this period, almost all the big brothers of the Shinran race in the fusion realm have gone to the front line. Now there are only a few big brothers in the fusion realm in the entire Shinrongshan, and there is not even an old monster in the refining void realm and other fiefdoms. Although the Shinran tribe successfully broke through the defense line of the Molan Star domain and recovered a large area of territory, it also almost exhausted most of the forces in the tribe. This is because the same tribes in other worlds have sent reinforcements, otherwise they would not be able to organize such a counterattack. There is no way. The Shinran tribe is sparsely populated. Even if they get support from other worlds, the number of cultivators alone cannot be compared with the Star Domain Alliance. After analyzing and pondering a lot of intelligence, Su Fan finally came to a conclusion, that is, the rear of the Shinran tribe is very empty. Anyway, there are some to do. However, these alone are not enough. He is ready to add more fuel to the fire. In the afternoon of that day, Su Fan left the dormitory and began to stroll in the town. He found a place where no one was, then took out the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion from the ring, and quietly sent a message to Qin Yu. Qin Yu, can you help me convey a message to the top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance? Devours, you finally sent a message. I was quite worried about you. What message do you want me to convey? Go ask the top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance whether they can launch a large-scale counterattack in the near future, preferably a surprise attack that concentrates all the big guys in the fusion realm. Devours, I can help you convey this message, but I don't think they will agree. Su Fan certainly didn't know that the top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance would definitely not agree to this easily, but he also had a trick. If I have sneaked into the rear of the Celestial Clan, it is very empty here at the moment. Chapter 997 I wish my uncle a safe journey. Devours, do you mean that you have already sneaked into the rear of the Celestials? Yes. I have already sneaked into the rear of the Celestials, but this news must be kept strictly confidential. Devours, please rest assured, I will contact the top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance, tell them that I want to make a big move in the rear of the Celestials, and let them cooperate with me. Su Fan chatted with Qin Yu for a few more words, and then put away the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion. Now it depends on whether the Star Domain Alliance can cooperate. If they organize a massive offensive in the near future, it will inevitably attract the attention of the top leaders of the Celestials to the front line. In this way, Su Fan can take the opportunity to make a big move. Of course, even without the cooperation of the Star Domain Alliance, Su Fan will not be idle. He has already sneaked into the rear of the Celestials, and he can't just do nothing. He must do something to make the Celestials heartbroken. After more than a month of intelligence collection, Su Fan already has several targets. In the afternoon, Su Fan received a message from Qin Yu. Devours, I have contacted the top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance. After some discussion, they decided to launch a massive offensive in a month. You didn't reveal my information, there was no way. The various sects of the Star Domain Alliance were like a sieve from top to bottom. Those people couldn't keep secrets at all. Devours, don't worry. Currently, only a few top leaders of the Star Domain Alliance know that you sneaked into the rear of the Celestial race. Su Fan was relieved after seeing Qin Yu's message. In fact, it didn't matter. As long as the news was kept for a month, when he made something happen, the top leaders of the Celestial race would know of his existence. Then thank you for your hard work. Communicate more with the Star Domain Alliance during this period. Contact me immediately if there is any news. Su Fan put away the Jade Talisman of Ruai Pavilion and returned to the dormitory in the town. He walked into a huge hall, which was a temporary dormitory for the wounded, where hundreds of wounded evacuated from the front line lived. Su Fan came to the bunk of a Celestial race cultivator and bowed to him. Greetings, uncle. The other party was a cultivator in the nascent soul realm. His name was Yu Qing, and he belonged to the same family as Yu Zhang. It was just another branch of the family. Although they were related by blood, they had not been in contact with each other for a long time. But after all, they were of the same blood, So they were closer than others, and the two of them often got together to chat? Well, sit down. The other party looked at him with a smile, and then asked him to sit down. I will be leaving in a few days. If you pass by my fiefdom in the future, you must come over, and we two will have a good reunion. Uncle, what you said, if I can't make it in the future, I may have to ask you to take me in. Yu Qing laughed after hearing this, but didn't respond. What are you thinking? I just knew you for a few days, and you want me to take you in. What a beautiful thing. Will Uncle return to the front line in the future? I have to go back to the fiefdom first. I've been away from home for so long, I have to go back first. Su Fan stood up quickly and bowed, saying, Then I wish Uncle a safe journey. A few days later, Su Fan came to the temporary airport in the fiefdom and rode away on a flying boat. At this moment, his appearance, breath and body shape have become like Yu Qing. Su Fan studied the other party's route. If Yu Qing wants to return to the fiefdom, he must first go to the nearest big city. He has to transfer to the teleportation array there to the main city of Shenrongshan, and then he can transfer to the teleportation array to return to the fiefdom. After half a month of tossing and turning, Su Fan finally arrived at the main city of Shenrongshan, Rongshan City. Su Fan got off the flying boat with a dense flow of people, and then walked around the city after leaving the crowded airport. It must be said that the main city of the Xianren tribe is indeed prosperous. Because of the rich resources, the monks in the tribe are also wealthy, so the prosperous scene of Rongshan City has been created. However, when the Star Domain Alliance launched an attack, the Xianren clan slaughtered all the slaves of various tribes indiscriminately, including those who worked for them for a long time. Therefore, due to the lack of a large number of service personnel, places such as shops in the city seemed a bit messy and even very chaotic. Su Fan found a hotel on the street. He went in and found a seat in the lobby and asked for some spiritual wine and spiritual food to drink by himself. It was lunchtime, and the lobby of the hotel was full. There were people everywhere, and it looked messy. Su Fan ate while listening to the chat of the monks in the store. But after listening for a while, he lost interest, and there was almost no information related to the front line. Bang! Bang! At this time, a series of dull bell sounds rang in the city, and the Xianren clan monks in the lobby of the store also looked solemn. Su Fan was confused and didn't know what was going on. What on earth happened? The divine bell was actually rung. Could it be that the Star Domain Alliance is coming again? I just asked. The Star Domain Alliance seems to be making a big move. Now a large number of monks have been mobilized in front of each defense line. Then what should we do? Will we be forcibly recruited? Of course, the divine bell has rung. I guess we can't avoid being forcibly recruited. Didn't they say that the support of our fellows from other worlds has arrived? Why do they still want to forcibly recruit us? Only a few people from our fellows from other worlds can come. By then, let alone us, even the big guys who have held back in the clan will have to go to the front line. At this time, the hotel lobby was in chaos, like a swarm of flies flying and buzzing there. Su Fan listened to the discussions of the monks around him for a while, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It seems that the Star Domain Alliance is really cooperating with him. Now that Shenrongshan has rung the divine bell, the Xianren clan will definitely start mobilizing the monks and the clan to go to the front line again. There is no way. The number of Celestial Clan monks is too small. Once the Star Domain Alliance gets serious, the front line will be stretched. After Su Fan finished his meal, he left the hotel and continued to walk around the streets in the city. At this moment, he could clearly feel that the atmosphere in the city had changed. The faces of the Celestial Clan monks on the street were all solemn. The entire Rongshan city was also filled with an extremely depressing mood, as if the sky was about to fall. Su Fan walked around the street and found an inn to settle down. But soon after he walked into the guest room, someone knocked on the door. Su Fan opened the door and immediately became nervous. He saw several Celestial Clan monks standing outside the door, staring at him covetously. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 998. What good things are you thinking about? You are Yu Qing, right? Show me your identity J talisman. Su Fan nodded, took off his identity J talisman from his waist and handed it to the other party. The Xianren cultivator opposite took the jade talisman, and then drew it on the microarray disk, and a light curtain popped up on it. You just came back from the front line. I was the first batch of cultivators to be recruited. Later, I was seriously injured and returned to Shinrongshan to recuperate. I just recovered from my injuries and wanted to go back to the fiefdom to take a look. I have been away for more than a year. The other party returned the jade talisman to him, and then smiled apologetically at him. Excuse me, you are not included in this compulsory recruitment. The other party left after saying that, and knocked on the door of a guest room next door. Su Fam closed the door and smiled. It seems that the Xianren clan's compulsory recruitment this time is not small. It is estimated that all the Xianren cultivators in the city will be searched. Even the cultivators in the inns in the city are not spared. This is no different from a temporary conscription. Not only that, it is estimated that the recruitment intensity of each fiefdom will not be small. It seems that the Star Domain Alliance has made too much noise this time, and has made the high-level celestial race completely nervous. Su Fam sat cross-legged in the guest room. He sat there silently, sensing the various auras in the city. If his sense is correct, there are only 2 fusion realm masters left in the city. Such a large main city, but there are only 2 fusion realm masters guarding it, which means that the high-level cultivators of the celestial race have been almost withdrawn. Now it depends on how much pressure the Star Domain Alliance can put on the celestial race on the front line. The best result is that the 2 fusion realm masters of Rongshan City are also withdrawn to the front line, and they can do whatever they want here one day. However, Su Fam thinks this possibility is not great. For such a large main city, there must be a fusion realm master left to guard it. Buzz! At this time, a series of dull buzzing sounds came from the city again, and Su Fan hurriedly ran out of the inn and came to the street. Not only him, but many celestial race cultivators also ran to the street from both sides of the street. Then an extremely thick golden light column descended from the sky, and the dazzling light that burst out dyed almost the entire area of tens of thousands of miles into golden color. Su Fan raised his head and looked at the golden light column that descended from the sky with a face full of shock. It is no wonder that the Celestials are communicating with the upper world at the altar again, hoping that the elders of the same clan in the upper world can give the people of the lower world some help within their ability. If the altar of this main city can be destroyed, it will definitely be a serious injury to the Celestials. As the main city of Shinrongshan, the altar here must be large in scale, and it should have consumed countless resources to build. If more than 1 million celestial monks in the city are sacrificed alive, it will be perfect. Thinking of this, Su Fan smiled bitterly to himself. What a beautiful thing. He was about to turn around and enter the inn when someone next to him exclaimed loudly. Look! Something seems to be coming down from the light column. Su Fan turned around and looked at the dazzling golden light column. He saw that there seemed to be a lot of shadows in the light column. Great, is it the elders of the same race from the upper world who have come down? You think too much? Not to mention the elders of the same race from the upper world, even the elders of the fusion realm from other worlds cannot come to support across the domain. Only some elders of the same race in the refining realm can come, although the elders of the same race from the upper world cannot come. Some high-level clones can still come, even if it is the clone of the elders of the upper world. It is also the clone of the refining realm, and the strength is not much stronger. After listening to the discussions of the surrounding Shinran cultivators, Su Fan shook his head and walked into the inn. In any case, he had no chance in Rongshan City. In fact, from the beginning, the several targets set by Su Fan did not include the main cities of the various planes of the Shinran race. After all, the main cities of these planes are guarded by elders of the fusion realm, and Su Fan has no place to use his skills. As soon as Su Fan walked into the guest room, the jade talisman of Ruai Pavilion on his waist began to vibrate slightly. He took off the jade talisman from his waist and took a look at the message sent by Kinyu. Devours, all the top bosses of the Star Domain Alliance have reached a consensus. The Alliance has not only mobilized all the masters of the fusion realm, but also drawn a lot of fusion realm monks from the rear, and now they are all at the forefront of the defense line. No wonder, with so many top bosses of the Star Domain Alliance gathered at the front line, it would be abnormal for the celestial race not to be nervous. Now that the Star Domain Alliance is approaching, the celestial race's military strength is obviously insufficient. Now that the Star Domain Alliance has not yet launched an attack, the celestial race has already begun to mobilize the entire tribe. Su Fan did not rush to leave Rongshan City, but wanted to wait here until the Star Domain Alliance launched an attack before making plans. A few days later, the atmosphere in Rongshan City became visibly tense, and even there were not many pedestrians on the street. In just a few days, the god bell in the city actually rang 3 times again, giving a feeling of dark clouds pressing down on the city and destroying it. It is said that there are long queues in the city's teleportation hall every day, all of which are monks who are forcibly recruited from all over the country and sent to various battlefields on the front line. This morning, Su Fan left the inn, and it was time to leave. Kinyu of Ruai Pavilion sent him a message last night, and the time for the Star Domain Alliance to launch a general offensive has been set for 3 days. 3 days is enough for him to reach the target area. The teleportation array in the city is definitely not to be relied on. Now there are still dense queues in front of the teleportation hall every day, all of which are Shinran monks who were recruited to go to the front line. Su Fan came to the city gate. Before leaving, he turned around and took a look, and then took a step to go out of the city. Suddenly, he stopped and turned to walk into the city. He turned into an empty alley, stood inside and closed his eyes, silently sensing the breath in the city. Impossible. He found that the breath of the 2 fusion masters who were originally guarding the city disappeared at some point. If there were no masters of the fusion realm guarding the Rongshan city, wouldn't he be able to do whatever he wanted? However, Su Fan was still a little worried. After all, this was no joke. If he made a wrong judgment, he would die miserably. Su Fan began to slowly move towards the center of the city. The luxurious palace in the center of the city was the residence of the 2 masters of the fusion realm. He came to the outside of the palace in the center of the city, then found a hotel on the street and walked in. Su Fan found a seat in the lobby, then ordered some spiritual food and spiritual wine, and ate by himself. He closed his eyes and carefully sensed the breath in the palace opposite. Su Fan sensed back and forth more than a dozen times, and except for the breath of dozens of cultivators in the refining void realm, he did not find the breath of the 2 masters of the fusion realm at all. Chapter 999 No problem, you need to pay more. At this time, the discussion in a private room not far away caught Su Fan's attention. It is said that many old monsters in the fusion realm of the Star Domain Alliance have gathered at the front line. I don't know if we can hold on this time, it's okay. Almost all the big brothers in the fusion realm of the clan have been transferred to the front line. I heard that. Don't go out and talk nonsense if you know it. Our Zhengong and Shenggong of Rongshan City have also gone to the front line. I have known about this for a long time. It seems that most of the big brothers in the fusion realm of the major cities in the rear have gone to the front line. Su Fan finished his meal and left the hotel, and then walked around the palace a few times. Ha ha, he suddenly laughed loudly, and the pedestrians on the street were attracted by his arrogant laughter and cast their eyes on him. Everyone thought Su Fan was stimulated by something, but he didn't care at all. Now that the 2 big brothers in the fusion realm of Rongshan City have left, for Su Fan, the millions of Shinran cultivators in the entire city are lambs to be slaughtered in his eyes. Just like the innocent little Red Riding Hood, encountering the ferocious big bad wolf. Su Fan did not rush to make a move, but sent a thought to the big boss of the Woman Upper Realm. Senior, do you want to make a big one? Tell me first, how big is it? A main city with millions of cultivators, do you think it is big enough? Well, this is not small, you bid. Then the 2 of them pulled for a long time before they agreed on the price. By the way, Senior, can you help me set up a town sealing formation to seal off Rongshan City? No problem, you have to pay more. Okay, let's talk about this later. At this moment, Su Fan had already arrived at the teleportation hall of Rongshan City, where there was still a long queue, all of whom were forcibly recruited Shinran cultivators. He looked up at the sky and said in a deep voice, Senior, let's start. Boom. As soon as Su Fan finished speaking, a blood-colored light column suddenly fell from the sky, and dense witch patterns appeared all over his body. His strength began to increase rapidly. In the blink of an eye, his realm had been raised to the middle stage of the refining void realm. Boom. At this time, with him as the center, a huge blood-colored light shield instantly covered hundreds of miles in radius, including the entire Rongshan city, as well as some towns and resource points outside the city. It has been completely covered. This is a large formation set up by the Woman Upper World boss. From now on, Rongshan City has completely lost contact with the outside world. Now even the J talisman used for communication, or the communication array talisman, cannot get in touch with the outside world. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and the black mist that permeated Su Fan's body suddenly boiled up. And the demon body was also constantly growing. In a blink of an eye, it had reached hundreds of feet high. Lines of fine black scales surged wildly from the demon body, constantly drilling out from every corner of the demon body, bursting out with incomparable terrifying power. One by one, hideous bone spurs squeezed out from each joint, and each key part also formed a piece of rough armor. The huge head was covered with long hair, each of which was as thick as a finger. Like tough steel wire. 2 hideous horns grew on both sides of the forehead. There was also a vertical eye between the eyebrows, flashing with a resentful light, revealing a terrible evil power. Ouch! Su Fan's demon body roared to the sky, and a tide of evil power suddenly swept out. This terrifying sound was heard far away, with a faint low wail, a gloomy breath and a fierce murderous intent. The Shinran cultivators inside and outside the teleportation hall of Rongshan City all felt a black screen before their eyes, and then they knew nothing and fell to the ground one after another. Su Fan walked into the teleportation hall, closed all the teleportation formations, and then set up an 8th level formation to completely seal it. He walked out of the teleportation formation, looked at the city shrouded in a faint blood-red mist, and showed a sneer on his face. Su Fan's eyes condensed, and the green eyeball and the vertical eye on his forehead began to turn. An extremely powerful and terrifying divine thought instantly began to spread around. The invisible and intangible destructive force roared away, and in an instant, the terrifying wave swept across the entire Rongshan City, and even spread to 1,000 miles away. The millions of cultivators in the entire Rongshan City felt as if their souls were stirred by thousands of steel needles, and all of them had the illusion that their bodies were constantly falling into the abyss of the ground. Next, the Shinran tribe in the city seemed to be possessed by evil spirits, and countless cultivators began to fall to the ground in groups. Swoosh, swoosh. At this time, in the palace in the center of Rongshan City, dozens of Shinran tribe refining Void Realm old monsters soared into the sky and rushed towards him. Su Fan sneered, and as soon as he thought about it, a dark sword several dozen feet long appeared in his hand. He slashed it with one sword without thinking. As the majestic momentum from the 9 heavens descended, the battlefield almost froze at this moment. Zhang, with a sword chant that reached the sky and the earth, it resounded through the void. The sword chant was accompanied by an extremely piercing whistle, and the entire space was shaken to the point of vibrating with visible vibrations. A sword light seemed to be born from nothingness, cutting through the space in an instant, with a majestic momentum like a tidal wave, sweeping up the mighty power and whistling past. Shoo! The extremely sharp sword light whistled past, and the whole world seemed to be split in half by this sword. An indescribable great terror and a great ominous aura poured down like an overwhelming force, causing a monstrous fear in the hearts of the dozens of old monsters in the virtual realm of the Shinran clan. On the opposite side, the world suddenly became quiet. It was as if some mysterious and unfathomable Deo essence had descended from the 9 heavens. The terrifying sword light suddenly appeared from the void, silently covering the entire world. Shoo! The sound of the sword chanting was like the rhythm of heaven, with an indescribable mysterious artistic conception. The sword light seemed to penetrate the void, as if it flew from the sky. Everything was like an antelope hanging on a horn, leaving no trace, and not even the slightest smell of fireworks. But in a flash, the sword light began to extend and expand infinitely, cutting through the entire world. The entire world seemed to solidify at this moment. After the sword light flashed, a deep sword mark appeared in Rongshan City, running across the entire city. The luxurious palace complex in the center of the city, along with a huge altar there, has turned into ruin. The dozens of Shinran clan cultivators in the air were even more miserable. They disintegrated in the air and turned into a bloody rain that fell to the ground. Chapter 1000. This big devil is too cruel. Looking at the dozens of old monsters of the heavenly race who turned into pieces of meat and fell to the ground, Su Fan couldn't help but sigh. It seems that the heavenly race really has no high-end combat power. In such a huge Rongshan City, let alone the big brothers of the fusion realm, even the remaining cultivators of the refined void realm, there is not even a half-step fusion realm. This also shows that the number of cultivators of the heavenly race is indeed stretched to the limit. At this moment, there are not many awake heavenly race cultivators in the entire Rongshan City. Those who were lucky enough to escape Su Fan's first soul attack were also attacked by him again and fell into coma. Su Fan slapped the secret jade key on his waist and summoned Yaksha and Sister Zhen. Yaksha, throw all the celestial clan monks in the city to the central square of the city. Sister Zhen, You take the people to clean up the battlefield. After hearing this, Sister Zhen and Yaksha quickly turned into two clouds of black smoke and whistled away, and then summoned countless ghost soldiers and ghost generals, as well as a large number of zombies and puppets to start cleaning up the battlefield. In a flash, the entire Rongshan city was occupied by dense ghosts, and the thick ghost smoke almost filled the sky above the city. You must act quickly, we don't have much time. Su Fan was a little worried, and he shouted again. At this time, Li Shangxiu also came out of the portable secret realm, and with her came the dozens of human cultivators who were rescued. Senior, what's going on? Su Fan turned around and glanced at Li Changxiu and the people standing behind her. This is the main city of the superplane Shin Rongshan of the celestial race, Rongshan City, which has been captured by me. Hearing his words, Li Shangxiu and the people behind her were stunned. Master, come here. At this time, Sister Zhen sent a thought to his mind, and he frowned, and then his body disappeared into the air. When Su Fan's figure appeared again, he had already appeared in the ruins of the palace. Under the huge destroyed altar, there were piles of corpses, including cultivators of various races, piled up like a small mountain. Master, there are more in the underground hall next to it, which should be the sacrifices used by the celestial race for sacrifice. Su Fan's face darkened. Since the Star Domain Alliance launched the attack, the celestial race was afraid that these slaves would turn against them, so they slaughtered all the slaves of various races indiscriminately. Let's collect them all and find a place to bury them together later. At this time, Li Shangxiu and dozens of human monks also rushed over. They were all shocked when they saw the densely packed monks of various races under the altar. How many people are there? They were all slaughtered by the Celestials. Several monks also took out the recording instruments from their rings and threw them into the air to record the tragic scene here. Su Fan didn't care about them. In fact, there were also many recording instruments floating in the air at this time, which were just arranged by Sister Zhen. This kind of image must be recorded, and the monks of the entire Jiaoxu world must see the atrocities of the Celestials. Su Fan watched here for a while and came to the central square of Rongshan City. At this time, countless celestial monks had piled up here. Li Changxiu and others also followed him. When they saw that countless celestial monks had been piled up into a huge pyramid, their faces turned pale. Now the monks of the entire Jiaoxu world are afraid that they have seen the video of the Jingwen Human Bone Tower. This big devil is too cruel. There are at least millions of Shinran cultivators in the whole Rongshan city, including men, women, old and young. Does he really want to sacrifice so many Shinran people alive? Li Changxiu raised her head and looked at the blood in the air. Senior, you have offended the Shinran tribe badly by doing this. In fact, she didn't think Su Fan was so cruel. The Shinran tribe destroyed the starry sky gate of the Molan Star region, and all the human cultivators on thousands of flying boats died without a burial place. At that time, there were also tens of thousands of cultivators in the Molan Star region. In particular, several of her childhood friends had begged her to put them in the flying boat, but she refused in the end. Until now, Li Changxiu is full of guilt. The Shinran tribe and I have long been at war to the death. Even if I let these people go, will the Shinran tribe be grateful to me? Those human cultivators also looked at this pyramid-shaped pile of people. When they saw that some people in the pile had woken up, especially when they saw a few young celestials struggling to break free from the crowd, some people couldn't stand it anymore. Look, a few kids over there have woken up. This big devil, is he really going to sacrifice all these celestials alive? Why sacrifice them alive if they are all killed? It's too cruel. A group of human monks were talking in a low voice, and a few saints were still complaining about Su Fan's cruelty. Shut up. Think about the corpses of slaves from various races you just saw. Aren't they human beings? The Yuanying realm monk who was in the lead suddenly turned his head and shouted loudly, and everyone shut up. What a joke. You are talking nonsense there. If you anger that big devil, we will all be in trouble. If he hadn't rescued everyone, you would have died long ago, and you still have time to talk nonsense here. In fact, Su Fan had heard what those people said, but he didn't take it seriously. Whether in the previous life or in this world of cultivation, there are always people who talk nonsense every day at this time. I don't know why, but their saintly hearts are always placed on those evil people. Su Fan turned his head and glanced at the group of people, then ordered Li Changxiu. Go and take them back to the portable secret realm. Li Changxiu knew that Su Fan was a little unhappy, and cursed these troublesome things in his heart. When the girl and those people entered the secret realm, the pyramid-shaped pile of people in the central square of Rongshan City had almost been piled up. Fortunately, Yaksha has countless ghost soldiers and ghost generals under his command, otherwise it would be quite troublesome to gather all the Shinran cultivators in the entire Rongshan City together. When the huge pile of people was completely piled up, Su Fam sent a thought to the big boss of the Wuman Upper Realm. "Senior, let's begin." Boom. As soon as Su Fam finished speaking, a thick blood-red light column suddenly descended from the sky, covering the pyramid-shaped pile of people built by millions of Shinran cultivators. Countless dense bloodlines were seen winding out from the bodies of those Shinran cultivators, and were instantly swallowed up by the blood-red light column that reached the sky. In a flash, the blood-red light column that fell from the sky had changed from blood-red to dark red, and finally from red to black. The entire Rongshan City was shrouded in endless red, and the sky and the earth were filled with blood. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.